What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 6 Hectoliters Chapter 136 The Transformation of the Ant King. This punch was powerful and heavy, and with a loud bang, the Ant King flew directly backwards for 100 meters and hit the rocks. Hashirama and Madara looked at it dumbfounded. This guy is only the initial strength of 6 paths, how did he knock down that humanoid creature? Is this guy hiding his strength? When the smoke and dust cleared, the Ant King stood steadily and said with a smile. My strength has improved a lot. The ability to move instantly just now was really good, but my strength is a bit lacking. Use your full strength. I'm afraid you won't have a chance to make another move after a while. HMPH, it's up to you. As he spoke, Qixing exploded instantly, and terrifying energy swept around. The golden airflow wrapped around the golden hair, and the momentum suddenly increased. Before Hashirama and Madara could be shocked, Qixing's blonde hair instantly turned green, and the surrounding chi was also blown away. Green was infected, and this green color did not last for 2 seconds, and was immediately surrounded by a dark magic thunder, which instantly covered the whole body with green again. At this time, Qixing's whole body seemed to have a black hole-like magic power, attracting the attention of the 3 people. At this moment, the Ant King finally became cautious, and the eyes of Hashirama and Madara were extremely solemn. At this time, the Ant King is no longer passive and chooses to take action first. The moment his legs were in the air, he rushed forward and appeared directly next to Qixing. His sandbag-sized fist hit Qixing's face. Qixing just raised his hand lightly and fought with the sandbag-sized fist. Fists clashed together. There was a bang and the 2 figures stepped back dozens of meters at the same time. Just staying for a second, the 2 figures collided together again, and the sky was once again filled with the dazzling battle between the 2. The Ant King had been preventing Qixing from attacking his tail, and Qixing seemed to have some understanding in his heart. At this time, the Ant King became more and more frightened. This guy couldn't compete with me 10 days ago. How can he compete with me head on so quickly? What kind of freak is this? But the Ant King never thought about himself. He was only 10 days old and had already reached the ceiling of the ninja world. This is the real freak. Qixing didn't know what the Ant King was thinking and continued to attack. He flew towards the Ant King desperately with various ninjutsu. When the Ant King came to this time and space, he devoured many more people. His ninjutsu at this time was definitely not less than that of the 7 stars. At this moment, there was a vacuum zone between the 2 of them caused by the collision of ninjutsu. Hashirama and Madara were stunned. The ninjutsu they could clearly see were lightning style, skywalk, lightning style, thunder style, fire style, phoenix fire, fire style, great fireball, water style, water dragon, earth style, earth and stone meteor, wind style, wind. Although these ninjutsu all seem to be basic ninjutsu, around B level and C level, the power they exert can be said to be A-level ninjutsu. Hashirama and Madara stared blankly at the 2 figures in the sky. The vacuum circle formed by the collision of hundreds of ninjutsu was getting bigger and bigger. The 2 of them were about to be surrounded by a vacuum circle. At this moment, Qixing and Ant King formed seals at the same time, obviously intending to use more powerful ninjutsu. Seeing this, the 2 retreated again. Seeing only 7 stars, push forward with both hands. Fire style, wind style, Kamui's superstorm dance. This time the 7 stars used Kamui to distort the surrounding space and create a storm, and then spit out huge fire snakes to attack the Ant King. The attack range is large, the attack speed is fast, and the destructive power is so powerful that it is staggering. Although the Ant King does not have very powerful ninjutsu, he has a strong foundation of strength. He raised his hand slightly, and terrifying ice spikes kept flying out, and then wind style. Guangfeng used it, but he didn't know what ability he used, actually made the violent wind form a storm, sweeping the ice cone, and was about to hit the Kamui super storm dance of the 7 stars. No matter how he looked at it, Qixing felt that the ability displayed by this guy looked familiar. This seems to be Ice Roar. Damn, why do you look so familiar? At this time, the terrifying storm and the roar of the ice finally collided and offset each other. The earth and rocks on the ground were rolled up one after another, and at the same time they were thrown thousands of meters away. After the 2 abilities persisted for 3 times, the roar of the ice the successor was powerless, inferior to Kamui's superstorm dance, and eventually dissipated. Advertisement: the skill of Qixing's storm flurry weakened slightly and hit the Ant King, but at this time the Ant King did not dodge for some reason. The terrifying storms hit the Ant King's body one after another, but a sudden wave appeared on the surface of the guy's body. A layer of protective film actually bounced away all ninjutsu. The 7 stars who refused to give up continued to use ninjutsu with various attributes. Lightning filled the sky and fell from the sky. Water dragons flew and hit the Ant King. Earth thorns rose from the ground and stabbed the Ant King from below. The Ant King did not use ninjutsu again to resist, but he stood still and let Qixing's ninjutsu hit him. After a burst of smoke and dust, none of these ninjutsu could cause any harm to the Ant King. Even if the blood successor is eliminated, this kind of ninjutsu that combines multiple abilities is still unable to destroy the Ant King's shield. Hashirama and Madara looked bewildered. They knew the power of those ninjutsu just by looking at it, but the humanoid creature with tentacles was completely unscathed. Obviously, as he said, The current Ant King has reached the peak of the newborn stage. I am afraid that after crossing the newborn stage, he will be at least the middle stage of the fairy level or even stronger. But at this time, the two people's combat prowess can be considered evenly matched, and their strength is basically the same. Qixing was unable to severely injure the Ant King, and the Ant King was unable to capture Qixing's figure. He was severely damaged and the battle reached a stalemate. Both of them have come to their senses. Unless they give up long-range attacks at the same time and only use close combat, the winner may be determined. The current battle between the two is inseparable. Most of the time has passed at this moment, and Qixing's aura is weakening little by little. Qixing's shortcomings are undoubtedly exposed. His powerful Super Saiyan 3 state can only last for 30 seconds, minute. Once the time has passed, you must gather your energy again to restart the super match mode. At that time, you will not be ravaged by the Ant King. Qixing obviously knew this and could not drag out the battle for too long. After another strong collision, the two figures were separated by 8,000 meters. At this time, Qixing no longer hides his clumsiness and directly uses ancient immortal skills to summon fairy spirits. In an instant, the surrounding elements gathered together crazily, forming a meter-long lizard. The lizard's body was still compressing, becoming more and more solid. Finally, it turned into a palm-sized elemental entity, lying on the top of Qixing's head. At this moment, something like a blue protective film also appeared on Qixing's body. When the Ant King saw this guy, his eyes widened. You are an element. You are recognized by the element. Boy, I have to look at you differently. So this time I'm going to do my best. As he spoke, the Ant King transformed again. It was different from the last time. The last time he transformed, his momentum only increased and his body did not change at all. But this time, even Qixing was stunned. Two wings actually grew out of the guy's back, and the feathers shone brightly in the sunlight. What's even more strange is that this guy actually grew 6 arms at the same time, but this is not the most terrifying thing. The most terrifying thing is that the muscles in the Ant King's body have swelled again, and his body has grown 10 feet taller. The tail behind him is also his only weakness, has also disappeared. Seeing this, Qixing cursed, damn, this guy has grown to this point. System, please take a look at this guy's attributes and know yourself and your enemy. Open black lens bracket ding. Target, gaze giant ant, transformed into a 6-armed demon ant. Age, 10 days, realm, early stage of immortal level. Combat strength, mid-level immortal level, talent, ninja immunity, elemental resistance. Attributes, none, all absorbed attributes can be used. Skills, basic ninjutsu grandmaster, basic taijutsu grandmaster, 6-armed magic light fist. But before Qixing could read the attributes of the Ant King, the guy's attack had already arrived at Qixing's front door. Chapter 137 The Seal of Sealing Heaven. Although the Ant King's attack is not as fast as teleportation, it is faster than the full speed of Qixing when he activates the swift wind. At this moment, Qixing is under great pressure, and his teleportation cooldown time is half an hour long. Although there is a protective layer on the body, Qixing knows that if he receives a strong punch from the transformed Ant King, he will only be severely injured and lose his combat effectiveness. At this time, you can only use the ability of the Elemental Dragon to elementalize part of your body. Just listen to Qixing shouting, Elemental Dragon, disperse. The moment Qixing Sanzi was shouted out, the Ant King's fist also hit Qixing. Hashirama and Madara only heard the sound of sonic boom, penetrating Qixing's body, and there were a few crisp sounds. The Ant King hit Qixing's fist, although it carried powerful space power, but Qixing did not use Kamui this time, but he used the elementalization ability to avoid the Ant King's long-planned attack. At this time, the Ant King was also a little surprised. Your boy has not only mastered the spatial ability, but also mastered the magical skill of elementalization. Very well, kid, I decided to eat you and don't want to cooperate with you anymore. Qixing laughed loudly when he heard this. It's up to you. Ant King, come on, let me see who can have the last laugh. Speaking of the 7 stars transformed into a giant Buddha, wrapped in Susanoo's armor, the door of death opened again, blood-red energy and black magic thunder intertwined. The huge armored giant Buddha's silhouette quickly condensed to 10 meters, and it was strong with the transformed Ant King. The two collided, and the two of them were really angry at this moment, and their fists went to the flesh. Just the aftermath of the collision between the two people in the sky had already caused the ground plane to disappear within 10,000 meters. The two of them hit the ground from the sky. At this moment, the earth was as fragile as paper in front of the two of them. It was torn apart one after another. A huge gap appeared after the two of them collided, and gradually formed a large pit of several kilometers. And the two figures continued to collide with each other. Blood all over his body was sprinkled all over the ground. If this continued, Qixing knew that he would definitely be swallowed up, because at this time, he had less than 5 minutes left to transform. System, how can we defeat this guy and subdue him? Ding. Host can seal it and then slowly figure it out. Close black lens bracket. Sealed Ant King. Are you crazy? How many points will it cost me to draw a sealing scroll? And that thing doesn't always appear. Ding. Host can spend 9,999 points to draw special products. In other words, only sealed items will appear. Other items will not appear. Close black lens bracket. How come I haven't heard of this feature before? Ding. This is a function that is only enabled when the system reaches level 2. close black lens bracket. Okay, then let's draw 10 special items in a row. Ding. Host spends 9,999 points to open a special lottery for sealed scrolls, close black lens bracket. Ding. Host spends 10,000 points to start drawing 10 consecutive seal scrolls, close black lens bracket. Ding. Congratulations to host for getting it. Fire Sealing Seal Scroll 2, 8 Sign Seal Scroll 1, All Things Seal Scroll 2, Heaven Sealing Seal 2, 4 Purple Flame Formation Scroll 2, 5 Elements Mountain Seal Scroll 1, close black lens bracket. Seeing these 10 scrolls, although some scrolls are of little use at this time, these are all good things, and the points don't cost much. But the moment Qixing saw the Sealing Heaven Seal, he knew that the 19,999 points were worth it. Let's not talk about other types of scrolls. This Heaven Sealing Seal is exactly what is needed at this time. Sealing Heaven Seal. It can seal all the energy of a creature in its body, making its body constantly weak, and its attack speed, movement speed, and attack power are all reduced by 50%. Duration 30 seconds. Disadvantage, it must be in contact with the target's body before it can be used. Advertisement. At this moment, Qixing looked at the Ant King with a smile, not daring to waste any more time. The moment his body disappeared, he used short-distance teleportation again to come to the Ant King, and slapped the Ant King's head with his big hand. The Ant King was very fast, but he only had time to block the attack with his wings, and his figure was instantly shot down to the ground by Qixing. There was a loud bang, the ground shook slightly, and smoke filled the sky. But before the Ant King could stand up, Qixing quickly formed seals with his hands, shouted loudly, and opened the Heaven Sealing Seal. The seal had just been opened, and the Ant King in the smoke was about to stand up when he suddenly felt unwell, staggered, and fell to the ground. That's right, it's physical discomfort. At this time, the Ant King was also confused. He half knelt on the ground in a daze, not knowing what was happening to his body. Qixing waved his hand, and a gust of wind blew away the smoke and dust, revealing the Ant King inside. At this time, the Ant King looked at Qixing angrily. What did you do to me? How could Qixing talk nonsense to him? 30 seconds is no more or less for Qixing, and Qixing is ready to subdue him within 30 seconds. The next moment Qixing rushed directly towards the Ant King, and his powerful physical skills made every attack of Qixing full of power. He hit the Ant King hard on his chest, abdomen and back. Throughout the pit, there were constant B******** G sounds echoing. In more than 10 seconds, Qixing punched nearly 1,000 times. The Ant King's body was also in disrepair. In the final blow, Qixing punched the Ant King on the cheek, a powerful and heavy blow that directly sent him flying 8,000 meters. How could the rapidly retreating Ant King be willing to fail? As long as he swallowed one more person, no, half a person, he would be able to recover. At this time, the Ant King was already observing Hashirama and Madara behind him. He could see that Madara's recovery power was too poor, but the body recovery power of the guy named Hashirama was extremely terrifying. At this time, the Ant King took advantage of the situation and retreated. When he was only 100 meters away from Hashirama, he kicked off his legs fiercely, flapped his wings slightly, and came directly to Hashirama as if teleporting. Hashirama, who had recovered 30% of his strength, was about to use Sage Art Wood-style True Several Thousand Hands, but the moment the Ant King's big hand pressed on Hashirama's shoulder, Hashirama's body began to weaken. At this time, Qixing could no longer teleport and had no time to destroy the Ant King's plan. We can only move forward quickly. But I have to admire the Ant King. This guy actually thought of using the 7 stars to cast the Heaven Sealing Seal on him in an instant to suppress Hashirama, leaving him unable to resist. The next moment, Qixing and Madara saw the Ant King open his mouth and swallow half of Hashirama's body in one gulp. Fortunately, Hashirama was not a waste either. Perform the mudra with one hand and use the body replacement technique promptly. He distanced himself from the Ant King. But even so, Hashirama was extremely miserable at this time. When Qixing's eyes fell on Hashirama, only half of his body was left. The entire left shoulder and left leg of his left hand had disappeared without a trace. If he were an ordinary person, he would have died long ago, but Hashirama's cells were growing crazily at this moment. In just a few minutes, the lost parts had been replaced. But even so, Hashirama is even weaker now. The Ant King is much stronger than Hashirama. At this moment, there is an invisible force in Hashirama's body, which is corroding Hashirama's cells all the time. At this time, Qixing finally understood why Hashirama died inexplicably after the Battle of the Valley of the End. It turns out that at this time, Hashirama actually suffered such serious injuries. It can be said that if Hashirama cannot break through to the immortal level, he will only have 3 years to live, and he will only die after 3 years. Chapter 138 Seal the Ant King. See you again 60 years later. After the Ant King swallowed half of Hashirama's body, he laughed crazily because his strength was restored and the weakness in his body had disappeared. Then he looked at Hashirama again. The Ant King did not act rashly because Qixing was already less than 100 meters in front of the Ant King. Hashirama and Madara stood together, the 4 of them stood in a triangle. The atmosphere was frozen for a moment. Qixing's transformation ability has lasted for less than a minute. At this time, Qixing is anxious to seal the Ant King again, but the Ant King who has suffered a loss may not be so easily fooled. At this time, Qixing said, King Ant, if we continue fighting like this, it will be difficult for us to determine the outcome, so why not decide the outcome with one move? I'll let you make the first move. When the Ant King heard this, he rolled his eyes and said with a smile. What tricks are you trying to do, kid? But no matter what tricks you have, they are all in vain in the face of absolute strength. After saying this, the Ant King flapped his wings and flew up, reaching ultimate speed. I saw countless Madara dots appearing on the green armor of the Ant King. The Madara dots turned into thorns and pushed directly towards the 7 stars. When Qixing saw this scene, he felt a trace of regret in his heart. He shouldn't have let this guy take action first. However, when the 7 stars were waiting, the Ant King stopped 5 meters in front of the 7 stars. Qixing was stunned. Hey, what are you doing? I'm ready. Are you going to get in? The Ant King hesitated for a moment and said, you must have some trap waiting for me, I won't fall for it. Grass. Damn it, if you don't have S*X, I will. Qixing was furious. When did this guy become so cautious? Now he had no choice but to bite the bullet and strike first. The moment Qixing kicked the ground with his right leg, he turned around, swung his leg and kicked directly towards the Ant King. The Ant King didn't accept the move at all and kept defending. Qixing was so anxious that he couldn't find a chance to stick the scroll in his palm. But suddenly Hashirama in the distance saw the situation clearly. The moment he formed a seal with his hands, he slapped it to the ground. The Ant King's body 4 wooden dragons suddenly appeared next to him and entangled him directly. Although he only controlled the Ant King for less than a second, this time was enough for Qixing to cast the heaven-sealing seal scroll. The moment the Ant King was frozen, Qixing's big hand directly patted his waist and abdomen. After the Ant King broke free from the restraints of the 4 wooden dragons, his body became weak again for 30 seconds. The Ant King felt that he had been attacked again and cursed loudly. A-hole. There's a kind of one-on-one fight, don't use such dirty methods. A-hole. While cursing, I rushed towards Hashirama. That guy has extremely strong recovery power. If I could completely devour him, I would be able to recover instantly even if I was seriously injured. Thinking of this, the Ant King's speed increased sharply. However, although the Ant King was fast, Qixing had long been on guard against him doing this. The gust of wind quickly opened, creating wind beneath his feet, doubling his speed and blocking the way of the Ant King. You have no chance, King Ant. I will give you back exactly what you just said. Either surrender to me, or I will beat you so hard that you won't even recognize your mother. I only give you 3 seconds to think about it. 1, 2, 3. At the count of 3, Qixing had already arrived in front of the Ant King, and hit the Ant King directly in the abdomen with 17 consecutive nail punches. The Ant King took a dozen steps back and spat out a mouthful of salty water. Staring at Qixing angrily, before the Ant King could reply, Qixing's attack struck again. The B******** G sound echoed in the valley again, and the Ant King was already torn apart. The bombardment for a full 20 seconds prevented the Ant King from completely absorbing Hashirama's cells. I almost spit it out. But the Ant King still held back. He is already feeling the benefits of the rapid fusion of Hashirama cells in his body. And the Ant King has already thought about it, and he will be a hero again in less than 10 seconds. At this time, the 7 stars were allowed to attack with all their strength, and the Ant King only defended with all its strength. However, the Ant King was too whimsical. Advertisement. When his whole body strength began to return, the Ant King stepped back 100 meters and laughed loudly. Boy, let me see if you still have that kind of scroll, ha ha ha, you're dead now. However, the Ant King was not happy for a second. 1,000-meter diameter 5 elements mountain fell from the top of the Ant King's head, and the Ant King didn't even react. The huge mountain directly suppressed it, and then quickly shrank. In the end, there was only a peak less than 10 meters high, which suppressed the Ant King. No matter how much the Ant King resists, he can't break free from the 5 elements mountain. After struggling for several minutes, the Ant King was already desperate, with tears streaming down his eyes. I've never had such a G frustrating fight. You just fight when you G fight. What the hell are these scrolls full of banned abilities? It's not fair at all. You kid has absolutely no martial ethics at all. Qixing looked at it with a smile, walked towards the foot of 5 Elements Mountain, looked at the Ant King who was trapped in it, and said, Don't talk to me about martial arts. That thing is worthless. I'm just asking you whether you will follow me or not. If you don't follow me, you will be suppressed in this alien space forever. Boy, are you dreaming about me, the Ant King? If I reach maturity, I can be compared to the existence of gods, and you actually make gods bow to you. Oh, is that so? A god? Don't say you're not a god. Even if you really are a god, you still have to be taken care of by me. Since you don't agree, then wait until I return 60 years later to hear your answer. As he spoke, he waved his hand, and a giant pit 100 meters deep instantly opened in the earth, and 5 Elements Mountain fell into it. Just listen to the looming voice of the Ant King. Boy, I won't give in. Just wait for me. B**********D. B********D. The sound gradually weakened, and the earth gathered together again at this time, as if the 5 Elements Mountain had never appeared. Nanahoshi turned to look at Hashirama and Madara. Boy, long time no see. Madara frowned and said, Do we know each other? Qixing chuckled, of course, we are familiar with each other, but only after a few decades. You are from the future. Good. May I know what Konoha will be like in the future? Ha ha ha, Konoha, which you have been guarding, will still be the strongest among the 5 major countries in the next 50 years. But what happens later, I don't need to say more, you will all see it yourself. Really? That's good, that's good. I really hope that day comes soon. By the way, you too, I think you heard what the Ant King said just now. Do you want to accompany me to the 3rd floor of the cave? Not only are there various artifacts there, but you might also be able to find a cure for Hashirama. Hashirama and Madara, after hearing this, looked at each other and nodded. Of course we have to go, but you have also seen that our injuries cannot be recovered in a day or 2. It doesn't matter. Eat this and you'll recover instantly. Said Qixing threw 2 fairy beans. Hashirama and Madara took it easily, and just holding it in their hands made them feel that the energy was slowly recovering. The 2 of them swallowed it without saying a word. In just a moment, not only did the chakra of the 2 of them recover as before, but even the injuries on their bodies were completely recovered without leaving any traces. It's just that the energy of the Ant King remains in Hashirama's body, but it has not been completely eliminated and is still hidden in his body. At this moment, Hashirama and Madara finally felt the magic of this little bean. The 2 of them turned around in shock and looked at Qixing with a smile on his face. Senior, can you give me another one of these beans? Chapter 139 The Cult of Evil God. Hidan hearing Madara's words, Qixing rolled his eyes and said, I didn't expect you to be interested in this. Well, if you can come out of the 3rd floor of the cave alive, you can exchange treasures with me. There is no limit to the quantity. Good. With that said, the 2 of them followed Qixing's footsteps and quickly headed to the demonic desert. The 3 of them didn't say anything along the way and just kept walking. Even if the 3 men stood at the top of the ninja world, it would probably take them 2 days to reach the destination if they just went to the demonic desert. And it is unknown what unknown mystery awaits the 3 of them in the cave. At the same time, the scene turned, and I saw the incarnation of Qixing, looking lazy again, lying blankly in the clouds, watching Naruto practice the new ninjutsu below. He just heard him sigh, it's so boring, why doesn't this kid go out to abuse food recently? My gourmet cells have been starving for a few days. Hey, is it a mistake to follow this kid? Damn it, wait one more day, if this kid doesn't act, I will leave. This is the 3rd time that the incarnation has said the words, leave. At this time, below the clouds, in a valley, a 100-meter waterfall fell. Beside the waterfall, 3 Narutos were rubbing the Rasengan. The balls kept spinning and condensing. After just 3 breaths, a rotating blade appeared on the balls. The blade was extremely sharp, causing ripples to appear in the surrounding space. This is one of Naruto's special skills, the spiral shuriken. Although this thing is powerful, the external incarnation can clearly see its shortcomings with just one glance. If you can't reach your opponent, you won't be able to unleash the power of this thing. But of course the external incarnation will not teach Naruto. His purpose is just to eat up the 9 tails chakra in Naruto's body, and the 9 tails chakra is extremely cunning and can easily cut off the connection with Jinchuriki. All become sperms. At this time, although Naruto had been working hard to practice ninjutsu, he was obviously unable to concentrate today. It should be because he had just received the news of Asuma's sacrifice, which made Naruto a little irritable. At this moment, the incarnation outside the body murmured to himself again, the actions of the Akatsuki organization have accelerated again, and the guy in the main body doesn't know when he will come back. If that guy named Pain comes over, I'm no match for him. If there's a life and death crisis, I can only summon you, the main body. I just hope I don't ruin your plan, otherwise Lousy will have to be beaten by the main body. Guys, you can't remake it. Why do you have so many G worries about being an incarnation? It's so annoying. Just when his external avatar was irritated, Shizun's call came from behind Naruto. Naruto has just received news that Shikamaru and Kakashi have found the 2 people who killed Asuma-sama in the Akatsuki organization and are now fighting with them. Ino has asked for support many times. Tsunade-sama hopes that you will go with Yamato and Sai. Okay. Let's go now. Wait, Naruto. If there is anything else, let's talk about it next time, senior. Do you know the specific location? Upon hearing this, Naruto stopped instantly, scratched his head and said, I don't know. Then why are you running, he said, throwing out a scroll containing information about the operation, go ahead. Advertisement good. As soon as he said that, he arrived at the village, grabbed Yamato and Sai, and disappeared into Konoha village. The incarnation in the sky was very excited when he heard that there was a good show to watch. A good show meant that there would be delicious food. Wow, that's good. Following this kid is the most correct choice. On the other side, the battlefield is divided into 2 parts. One is the battlefield on Kakashi's side, and the other is the battlefield between Shikamaru and Hidan. The 2 of them have come to the forest, but Hidan does not know that this place has been set up by Shikamaru. Countless detonating symbols were produced. At this time, the 2 sides were fighting to the point where they could only use mouth escape. It was obvious that Hidan's mouth escape was no match for Shikamaru. Unknowingly, Hidan had been restrained by the shadow and controlled his mobility. However, Hidan did not panic at all. He just resisted the shadow's control and slowly walked to Shikamaru and raised his hand. The sickle was about to harvest Shikamaru's life, but the next moment, Shikamaru smiled. You fell into a trap. After speaking, the shadow binding technique instantly strengthened and locked onto Hidan directly. Then, tens of thousands of detonating talismans on the ground were all lifted up by the shadows, surrounding Hidan. Looking at Hidan now, he was already surrounded by detonating talismans like a rice dumpling. I saw Shikamaru taking out a kerosene lighter, lighting a cigarette, and then threw the lighter behind him, leaving only a handsome figure walking out of the forest. Behind Shikamaru came a frightened roar and a strong roar, and the aftermath of the explosion directly leveled hundreds of meters in radius. Hidan was also blown to pieces by nearly 10,000 detonating talismans. Without a miracle, Hidan's bones would have to remain buried underground for generations. However, the followers of the evil god cult have immortal bodies, and Hidan is the leader among them. At this time, countless earth and rocks stained with Hidan's blood actually rolled and stuck to each other. At the moment when it was about to take shape, countless elk emerged from the jungle to prevent Hidan from resurrecting. After countless attempts, the blood had dried up, and Hidan had completely lost hope of resurrection. But strangely enough, the identity of the Hidan evil god cult is exactly the person the 7 stars are looking for. When he incarnates outside his body and arrives here, an inexplicable memory flows out, and some sealed memories loosen. The mission is to rescue Hidan, put him into a universal capsule, and hand it over to the main body. The ontology needs his memory. Damn it. When I saw this memory unlocked, my external avatar scolded my mother directly. You can't watch the show anymore. You be ***************. D. Although reluctant, the external avatar cannot resist the instructions of the main body. Can only come to the forest where Hidan died. At this time, a figure in the sky fell into the destroyed forest and said angrily, "That guy has been blown into powder. Can he be saved?" "Hey, Hidan boy, if I call you and agree immediately, otherwise, Lousy will leave. I'll count to 3. If you don't answer, you'll be buried here forever." 1 2 3, when the body was transformed and the 3 words were counted, an extremely small voice came from behind a mound. "Senior, I'm here." Although the voice was small, it could not be concealed from the powerful person incarnate outside him. With a wave of his big hand, the earth and stone were separated from both sides, revealing half of the head. "Senior, save me." "Oh, it's just as the main body said, the evil god cult is indeed a powerful and hidden organization." As he spoke, he slapped his hands on the ground, and a very strong tornado blew away all the earth and rocks, condensing them in the air, and the pieces of Hidan's body were pieced together bit by bit. In just 3 minutes, a complete Hidan appeared in front of his external avatar. When Hidan saw the appearance of his incarnation clearly, he was shocked and said, 107, Japanese pronunciation of Uchiha Itachi, why are you here? Chapter 140 Incarnation, my name is Uchiha. Okay, I'm not a 1 against 7 person. Come with me and tell me some information about the evil cult. And you can't attack anyone without my permission, do you understand? Hearing this, Hidan's eyes rolled wildly and his thoughts became vivid. HMPH, my body has recovered and I don't need to beg you in such a lowly manner anymore. Although you saved me, I'm not grateful to you. Just because of you, you still want to send a great evil cultist. 1 against 7, go away. Don't pretend to me, I don't need your help here. If you don't leave, I will kill you. But after hearing Hidan speak like this, the incarnation outside the body did not tolerate him and only listened to his disdain. Hey, why are you no longer begging for help? Now that you have a body, you have become hard in front of me. For a waste like you that is of no use to me, Lousy would have disdained you originally, but if you don't take Lousy's words seriously, that's your biggest mistake. HMPH, 1 against 7. I am Lord Evil God's most loyal believer. Today I will use you as a sacrifice to Lord Evil God, so that my strength can be greatly improved, ha ha ha. Damn it, Lousy said, Lousy is not 1 against 7. You are like a rat licking a cat. You look for excitement on me when you have nothing to do. Die. Dead word export. The figure of the external avatar has disappeared, and at the moment of disappearance, multiple shadow clone techniques are directly used. When it reappears, there are already 5 external avatars, surrounding Hidan who has not yet reacted. 1 grabbed Hidan's head, 2 grabbed his legs, and 2 grabbed his hands. Without giving him any time to react, with a click, Hidan was cut into pieces by the 5 stars. At this time Hidan was finally afraid. Hidan's head was seen saying in horror. 1 against 7, don't be impulsive. The leader said we can't kill each other. What a shame. Lousy is not 1 against 7, I have to tell Lousy a few times. Depend on, Lousy's name is, hey, what's my name when I ride on a horse? That be ************ D, it seems like he never gave me a name. Forget it, since the main body is called Uchiha Qixing, then I'll call it, Uchiha Black Small Square Chi. Qixing is in front of the star. It sounds more majestic than the main body's name Hokage. Hey, I'm AF G genius. Yes, that's right, my name is Uchiha. Then he transformed outside his body and looked at the dismembered Hidan. Boy, remember Lousy's name. My name is Uchiha Tun. Do you hear me clearly? Listen clearly, senior. You are Uchiha Chi, please let me go. Let you go, you're dreaming. I finally got a chance to trade you with the main body for something good. You still want to run away. Saying that, regardless of Hidan's whining, he took out a universal capsule in his hand. Press the red dot in the middle of the capsule and the capsule instantly turns into an oversized box. The 5 incarnations, known as Uchiha Qixing, took various parts of Hidan's body and threw them into the box. Then press the yellow button on the box, and with a bang, the box turns into a capsule again. Looking at the capsule in her hand, she smiled and said, "Ah, advertisement. I don't know where the guy in the main body got this thing. Don't tell me, returning it to him is very practical. Put away the capsule, Qi, and fly up. If you time it in time, you might be able to watch half of the show." Sure enough, when Uchiha Qixing rushed to the battlefield where Naruto was, Kakuzu had turned into a monster with black hair all over his body. The length of that hair is daunting. Naruto, on the other hand, separated into several clones and started rubbing balls again. The ball spun rapidly in Naruto's hand, forming 4 blades around it. When Kakuzu saw the meatball in Naruto's hand, he was so scared that he broke into a cold sweat. Just looking at the momentum, this ball already has S-level destructive power. He knew that if he fell into this trick, he would be in big trouble. But before Kakuzu could think of a countermeasure, Naruto rushed towards Kakuzu. Shoji, who was playing jungle on the edge, didn't want to just shout 666 from the sidelines. Shoji said that he also wanted to go up and help, but was stopped by Yamato. Let him not give away his head. This will drag down teammates. Although Shoji was unhappy, it was a fact and he could only watch Naruto pretending to be cool. At this time, several of Naruto's clones rushed in front of Kakuzu with fake balls. Before they could get close, they were killed by Kakuzu's black hair. But Naruto's true form took him by surprise and attacked from the side, and he succeeded. The ball carrying terrifying power hit Kakuzu's waist. The friends who were watching the show were all excitedly shouting, "Naruto is awesome 666, but the excitement has not yet passed." The next moment, the meatball disappeared only an inch away from Kakuzu's waist. The friends who saw this looked confused. Everyone was talking to each other. What's going on? This guy has been showing off for a long time, and then he let it go. And only Chi, lying in the sky, understood what was going on. Obviously, because Naruto's skill is newly developed, although it is an S-level skill, its duration is only 3 or 4 seconds. What's more important is that this skill must come into contact with the opponent in order to be effective, otherwise it will be useless. Of course Naruto himself knew the shortcomings of his skills and wanted to retreat when he missed a hit, but how could Kakuzu let him go? Kakuzu stretched out his black hair and tied Naruto's legs. Upon seeing this, Kakashi hurried over to support, and Captain Yamato also used wood style to contain Hidan. At this time, Kaka came to Naruto's side, with a flash of lightning in his hand, and a rakery cut off the black hair that trapped Naruto. The 3 of them successfully escaped. After a few seconds of discussion, the people were ready to go together and kill Kakuzu, but Naruto refused to accept it and looked at the friends behind him. "I can do it, I will try again." Of course, the friends were also twitchy and actually believed Naruto completely. Several people took a few steps back, leaving the battlefield to Naruto. This time Naruto held his breath and concentrated, separated into 3 clones, launched the Rasen Shuriken again, and then rushed towards Kakuzu. At this time, Kakuzu also knew that Naruto's skills could not be used for close combat and could only attack from a distance. Then more black hairs were spit out from his mouth. The black hairs were orderly, surrounding Kakuzu, intertwined with each other, and finally formed 5 thick black hair columns. Seeing Naruto's 3 clones rushing towards him with Rasen Shurikens, Kakuzu was not made of steel either. He just jumped over and ejected into the air. 5 black hair pillars spread out like wings, gliding in the air and heading directly towards him. Naruto flew to where his body was. At this time, Kakuzu's goal is very clear, which is to kill Naruto's body first. Immediately, Kakuzu, who was still in the air, launched 5 long-haired pillars and stabbed Naruto on the ground. The sky was filled with smoke and dust in an instant. When the smoke and dust dissipated, Naruto had been poked into a sieve by the black hair. However, to Kakuzu's surprise, this turned out to be just a clone of Naruto. Thinking of the consequences, he suddenly broke into a cold sweat. At this moment, Naruto's real body, dragging the spiral shuriken, appeared behind Kakuzu. It turned out that when Naruto attacked just now, he had predicted that Kakuzu would attack his own body first. So the main body was mixed with the 3 clones just now. At this time, Kakuzu tried to fight back, but it was too late, because Naruto had already put the Rasen Shuriken on Kakuzu's back, sending him flying hundreds of meters away, and then the Rasen Shuriken exploded in the air. The exploding Rasen Shuriken turned into countless tiny chakra needles, which were thrust into Kakuzu's body crazily. At this time, Kakuzu was already bleeding all over his body. The friends watching this scene widened their eyes. Chi, hiding in the sky, also changed his lazy look and said in surprise, "Huh, this skill is quite powerful." Chapter 141, Coming to the Demonic Desert 60 years ago. I didn't expect that the ninjutsu this kid developed at random would actually have something to it. As expected, he is indeed the son of luck that the main body said. This luck is really not something that can be guaranteed. But I watched that kid develop this skill. I'm afraid I have a better understanding of this skill than Naruto. It seems that I have to find an opportunity to test the power of this skill. It's just a pity that this time, the only flaw is that this boy Naruto didn't summon the tailed beast during the battle. My food dream was ruined again. When Chi looked down again, the battle below was coming to an end. A large crater of nearly 100 meters appeared where the Rasen Shuriken had blown up. Fortunately, the explosion started from the air, otherwise how can the area of this pit be only this big? I really hope this good show doesn't end so soon. Chi's eyes seemed to be expecting Kakuzu to stand up again. Unfortunately, Kakashi knew the importance of last hitting. He jumped into the pit in a flash, exploded the line with lightning in his hand, and ended Kakuzu's sinful life with a rakery. Don't give it any chance to make a comeback. Naruto was lying on the ground, obviously exhausted. After all, he used S-level ninjutsu twice in a row. Although the amount of chakra was enough, his body was still a little overwhelmed. At this time, two junglers, Ino and Choji, approached Naruto and gave him emergency treatment. At this moment, the other friends had just recovered from the shock. Looking at the devastation on the ground, they were filled with emotions. Naruto, this guy, has grown to such an extent. And this battle also came to an end after Kakuzu's death. But what they don't know is that Naruto's good friend, Uchiha Sasuke, is suffering a twist of fate at this time. And Orochimaru is the man who changed his destiny, and he is also the man who has always been greedy for his body. At this time, the screen changed to a base in Orochimaru. Sasuke was fighting with a weak Orochimaru. I saw Orochimaru transforming into a white snake sage, attacking Sasuke desperately. At this time, Sasuke's hard power has reached the peak of Elite Jonin, plus he can open 3 stages of Curse Seals. Curse Seal can improve the overall strength, similar to the weakened Sage mode, can fully exert Cage-level combat power. Although Orochimaru's strength is at the late Cage level, after the last sneak attack on his teacher and having his hands sealed by him, his health is getting worse day by day. I had been lying in bed before, but this time I was forced to fight. 3 achievements are considered too much if the strength can be exerted. But Orochimaru has been licking Sasuke's body for so long, no matter how weak he is, he still has to do it. This time, the two of them have their own thoughts. You want my body, and I want to kill you. I'm afraid they won't give up unless there's a winner in this battle. But the weak Orochimaru, who was no match for Sasuke, had just started to fight. His snake body had already been chopped into several pieces by Sasuke. His body fell to the ground, and blood filled the whole room. But when the blood met the air, it turned into an anesthetic. What he thought was the balance of victory instantly put Sasuke in crisis. As expected, the scheming one is definitely Uncle Snake. How could Orochimaru miss such a good opportunity? When he saw Sasuke being attacked, he stepped forward and swallowed Sasuke into his snake's belly. The inside of the snake's belly has already been transformed by Orochimaru into a different space that can be perfectly reincarnated. As soon as Sasuke entered Orochimaru's alien space, he was wrapped in a large amount of sticky matter. When Orochimaru's soul saw that Sasuke was trapped, he crawled toward Sasuke with great excitement. But Orochimaru also underestimated Sasuke. I saw 3 Magatama spinning in Sasuke's eyes, and at the moment Orochimaru approached, he opened the 3rd curse seal. His body was covered with bloodlines, and his strength was upgraded to the mid-cage level. It actually started to backfire on Orochimaru's body snatching. Now Uncle Snake started to panic and said in shock, "This is obviously my own space, how could it be counterattacked by you? This is impossible." Advertisement. When Sasuke heard this, he said disdainfully, "All your actions are in vain in my eyes." Then he no longer gave Uncle Snake a chance to talk nonsense. He opened his mouth and sucked in Uncle Snake's soul, along with this alien space, directly into his belly. After doing all this, Sasuke's momentum began to surge, and countless small whirlwinds formed around his body. In just 3 breaths, his strength directly increased to Cage level. At this time, Sasuke's strength has already been separated from the small powers of Konoha. Perhaps only the younger generation of Tensho clan, the strongest ones, can compete with him. And this turning point of fate ended with Sasuke becoming the winner. If Qixing was here, he would definitely be happy. After all, elder brother is like father. What father doesn't want his child to become strong? However, the star itself was in Lulan time and space at this time, bringing young Hashirama and Madara to the demonic desert in the Sengoku era. As soon as the 3 of them arrived here, they already felt full of malice. During this period, summoning beasts appeared more unscrupulously and focused more on protecting their own territory. The demonic desert during this period was not as peaceful as it would be 60 years later. The 3 of them just showed a trace of breath and were surrounded by summoning beasts wandering in the desert. Although the 3 of them are strong, they also know that they cannot easily fight on such open terrain. Hashirama stood up, clasped his hands together, and slammed the ground. In the desert, countless thick vines instantly appeared, restraining all the wandering summoning beasts. Then the 3 of them bypassed these guys and ran quickly forward. Along the way, the 3 of them encountered many surprise attacks by such summoning beasts. They were flying in the sky, running on the ground, and swimming in the sand. Their strength also increased from the Chunin level at the beginning to the summoning beast that is close to the Cage level now. It also surprised Hashirama and Madara. I didn't expect that we had been fighting for decades and never took a good look at the structure of this world. It turns out that the ninja world is not just about us humans, but these summoning beasts have also developed to this extent. But I heard from Senior 7 Stars that most of these summoning beasts have disappeared after a few decades. This is why. Madara also pricked up her ears curiously at this time, wanting to know the answer from Qixing. But Qixing didn't say much, he just said, "When your strength reaches a certain level, you will naturally understand why all of this is happening." Of course, Qixing was just pretending to say this. How could he know the reason for all this? He wanted to know the answer himself. At this time, Qixing was just trying to establish the image of a senior master in front of Hashirama and Madara. But it was these ambiguous words that made Hashirama and Madara confused, and also changed Madara's view of the future. Maybe as long as you don't die, you will finally get the answer in the future. Just when Hashirama and Madara were thinking wildly, Qixing had already led them to a high slope of yellow sand and stopped. And this is where the crypt guided by the system is located. This is the entrance to the cave ruins 60 years ago. Nanahoshi pointed forward, looked at Hashirama, and said, "Hashirama, it's up to you." Hearing this, Hashirama instantly understood what Qixing meant, and then nodded. He pointed forward with one hand, and a thick vine came out of his hand. It instantly penetrated into the ground, and then the center of the vine slowly disappeared, forming a narrow passage. 3 people can enter it. Seeing this, Qixing didn't hesitate at all, jumped directly. Hashirama and Madara just looked at each other and followed closely behind. Chapter 142 The Tomb of the Dead. When the 3 of them entered the cave, they were immediately shocked by the scene in front of them. Although the remains of the cave at this time were buried in yellow sand, they were completely different from the dilapidated scene that would be revealed 60 years later. Even Qixing, a soul that has withstood the glitz and glamour of the 21st century, couldn't help but sigh. Beautiful, really beautiful. It turns out that this is called splendor. On the first floor of the crypt, 8-meter thick golden pillars were scattered around the hall. The huge bricks on the ground seemed to be irrigated by gold and sparkled. The most eye-catching thing is a red-painted Hades gate, standing alone in the center of the entire hall. There is a black golden Nanmu plaque hanging on the top, which should have 3 big characters written on it, but at this time, only the word, Shengmen, is left. Looking further back, behind the Hades gate, there are some low tables with some exquisite ninja tools placed on them. There are many styles of ninja tools, ranging from legendary level to immortal level. What shocked Qixing the most was that among the hundreds of utensils, he actually saw items that existed only in the ancient times of Sha Kingdom. A small tripod covered with hieroglyphics. The tripod has 4 legs and can be held with one hand. At this time, Qixing couldn't help but walk forward, preparing to pass through the Hades gate and pick up the small cauldron to see what was going on, but the next moment, the system prompt sounded and woke Qixing up. Ding! Host, please stop your unwise behavior. If you walk through the Hades gate, you are likely to go somewhere in the Pure Land. Once you enter the Pure Land in this way, Shinigami will find your traces in an instant. Close black lens bracket. Hearing this, Qixing suddenly broke out in a cold sweat. Damn it. This door actually connects to the Pure Land. Isn't it called the Hades Gate? Why does it have anything to do with the Pure Land? Ding. Hades Gate is just an item with the attribute of death and has nothing to do with Hades. There is no such god as Hades in the ninja world. Close black lens bracket. Oh, that means that this Hades Gate is the immortal item of Shinigami. Ding. There is Shinigami's aura on the item. It is unknown who it belongs to. Close black lens bracket. Forget it. It's probably a trap set by some big shot. We're just waiting for the little guinea pig to jump into it. As soon as Qixing finished speaking, Hashirama and Madara were hit at the same time. I can only say that this place is magical and can affect people's sanity unconsciously. There is always an urge deep in my heart to step forward and pick up the items on the table, but if I want to get the items, I have to pass through this weird Hades Gate. If Qixing hadn't had a system master, he would have fallen into the trap. Watching Hashirama and Madara slowly approach the Hades Gate, their hands stretched out and turned into 2 illusory big hands, grabbing them and pulling them back. When the 2 of them woke up, they broke into a cold sweat. Senior, what was that just now? HMPH, it's a good thing you came with me, otherwise I don't know how you died. Let's go and forget about this. As he spoke, he turned around and walked around the door to the left, no longer looking at the items behind the door. Hashirama and Madara were frightened for a moment, and then followed Nanahe's footsteps. However, at this time, Qixing had already walked around the first floor, but unfortunately he could not find how to enter the second floor. He wanted to try to use Earth style to sink. As a result, the skill was used, but the gold bricks under his feet seemed to be it was like being locked by the formation, impregnable. After trying to no avail, I had no choice but to seek help from the system uncle again. System, lead the way to the second floor of the cave. Ding. 1000 points have been consumed to successfully use Luyan. Please follow Luyan closely. Close black lens bracket. As soon as the prompt was finished, Lu Yin quickly floated to the right, and the 3 of them went all the way to the left. Lu Yin took Qixing in a large circle, as if the 3 of them had walked out of a maze. As for whether it is true, Qixing himself does not know. When the 3 people walked out, although Qixing felt a lot of dissatisfaction in his heart, his progress did not stop at all. After all, if Lu Yin doesn't stop, how can Qixing stop? Before Hashirama and Madara could get excited, Nanahoshi was already heading forward. When we got here, we were finally the same as the path to the cave 60 years later. The way into the lower level is still a dark tunnel. The 3 people from Qixing traveled for half an hour before finally reaching the endpoint. Lu Yin also completed his mission at this time and disappeared without a trace. The 3 of them raised their heads at the same time and looked towards the endpoint, which was an open space of 10,000 meters. In the center of the space, 9 torches were lit on a 100-meter large altar. When Qixing came to the torch, he discovered that it had no fuel, and he didn't know what was supporting it to burn. And some small runes under the torch are actually collecting the fire attribute chakra between heaven and earth. Advertisement I see. The curious Hashirama and Madara reached out to touch the torch, but the moment their fingers touched the torch, 2 fire snakes rushed out from the torch. The ferocity was revealed and he bit the 2 of them. Hashirama and Madara, on the other hand, just chuckled and pinched the fire snake. Just when the 2 thought that the fire snake was already in their bag, the fire snake exploded instantly, and the huge flames directly enveloped Hashirama and Madara, and their hair was burned completely. When Qixing saw this scene, he was not sure about the origin of this thing. System. What is the altar in front of you? Ding, it's a sacrificial altar. Creatures or items with super high energy need to be put into it for sacrifice. The altar will open the entrance to the 3rd floor. Close black lens bracket. Oh, I asked why I hadn't found the entrance to the 3rd floor before. It turned out to be the reason for this altar. Haha, when it comes to ultra-high energy items, apart from my fairy beans, there is nothing else in the ninja world that can compare with it. After saying that, Qixing immediately took out 2 fairy beans and put them into the altar. But there was no movement on the altar at this time. Nanahoshi refused to accept it and took out fairy beans one after another, 9 in total. Madara and Hashirama, who were watching on the side, swallowed their saliva. They had eaten these beans before, and the energy that instantly restored them to their full state was enough to drive anyone crazy. But Lord Qixing in front of him casually threw it on the altar. Just when the 2 of them were confused, the 10th fairy bean from the 7 stars was finally placed on the altar. The altar flashed with white light, the beans disappeared without a trace, and a large opening suddenly opened in the middle of the altar, and a dark door-shaped entrance appeared in front of the 3 people. At this moment, the system prompt sounded again, ding! Congratulations to the host for discovering the entrance to the 3rd floor of the crypt. 5,000 bonus points. Close black lens bracket. Hey, points are awarded again, this is the 2nd time. I have discovered many new places before, but the system did not reward me with anything. Could it be that if something related to the system appears, you will be rewarded with points? With that said, Qixing glanced at the 2 people beside him, no longer hesitated, and stepped into the dark door. After a while, the world was spinning. Qixing stepped firmly on his feet. When he looked around again, countless torches had already illuminated the space. It's obvious that this is a huge tomb. Because although this floor is large, there is only a luxurious coffin in the middle of this floor. Behind the coffin is a treasure house. On the floor of the treasure house, there are countless gold and silver jewels. On the wooden shelves in the treasure house, there are a dazzling array of all kinds of immortal level ninja tools. And in the innermost part, there are some seal scrolls, each about the size of a palm. The circular barrier that can conceal detection emits colorful lights. Open black lens bracket ding. Congratulations to host for discovering the tomb of the dead. Close black lens bracket. As soon as the system prompt tone fell, Hashirama and Madara also fell. Although the 2 of them have no interest in the treasure mountain, they are very persistent in becoming stronger, developing their family, and protecting their people. If these things are obtained, the family will surely make rapid progress in a short period of time. The 2 of them headed straight for the treasure as soon as they landed. But when the 2 of them passed the coffin, a skinny mummy sat up from the coffin. This scene not only frightened Hashirama and Madara, but even Nanahoshi broke into a cold sweat. Chapter 143. What the hell is this sword energy flying towards me? Just listen to Qixing swearing, oh my god, this thing also contains a fake corpse. But Hashirama and Madara were no longer so relaxed. Although the sudden appearance of the mummy frightened them, they were strong men who had experienced hundreds of battles. He adjusted his condition in an instant, continued to move forward, and headed straight for the treasure house. But this mummy is not just lying here for fun. Its purpose must be to guard the entrance to this treasure house and eat fresh takeaways. The next moment, the mummy's head moved. The mummy's body did not move, but its head rotated 180 degrees, turning behind it to look at Hashirama and Madara. Without giving the 2 of them any time to react, the mummy blew out a stream of green smoke, and the smoke turned into a poisonous dragon, biting the 2 of them instantly. Hashirama and Madara, the 2 of them pulled apart and formed hand seals at the same time, wind style, wind and residual clouds. In front of the 2 of them, 2 tornado-like ninjutsu appeared at the same time, hitting the poisonous dragon. The 2 green poisonous dragons were crushed to pieces by the ninjutsu when they came into contact with them. It turned into green smoke and was swept into the tornado. Just when the 2 thought it was over, they didn't expect that the inside of their ninjutsu exploded at the same time, and instantly 2 streams of green poisonous smoke filled the air. In less than 3 seconds, the poisonous smoke formed into a poisonous mist, completely covering the entire 3 floors of the cave. The 2 guys, Hashirama and Madara, haven't given up yet. Madara has already activated the blue Susanna and wrapped himself up, looking out of place in the green poisonous mist. Hashirama was much better. He was surrounded by countless green vines, which completely absorbed the green poisonous mist approaching Hashirama. Qixing watched the 2 of them show off their magical powers without giving up at all. He couldn't help but shook his head. If this mummy was so easy to deal with, I would have been there long ago and it would be your turn. As he spoke, Qixing looked at the attributes of the mummy. Open black lens bracket ding. Target, Guardian. Name, 10,000 Years Corpse King. Realm, Peak of immortal level. Age, talent, immortality, body as hard as steel, invulnerable to all things. Domain. Eternal soul. Range, radius kilometers, derived fields, corpse poison. Ability. 80% suppressed by the coffin that sealed him, normal deduction is blocked. Host can spend 50,000 points to force precise deduction. Close black lens bracket. It's a bullshit deduction. I'll go, it's completely unnecessary, but this guy is pretty awesome. I feel like we've hit the wall this time. Do you want the system boss to implement Plan B now? Ding. What is Plan B for host? Close black lens bracket. You pig, of course you made a strategic retreat. I am a peak immortal level being, and I am no match for 10 more. Ding. The mummy cannot leave the kilometer range of the coffin. As long as the host is not close to the coffin, the mummy will not attack you. Close black lens bracket. Oh, I see, but why is that guy called a guardian? Ding. According to system deduction, the mummy is guarding the 3 underground floors. It should have been named and placed here by the owner here. Close black lens bracket. The system's mummy is extremely powerful. Do I have any hope of getting it? Ding. As long as the host gets the mummy's life talisman, not only will it get super help, but it will also get some of the treasures on the 3rd floor of the cave. Close black lens bracket. Qixing was so excited when he heard that he could recover the mummy if he got the destiny talisman. He had already forgotten about the treasure. At this moment, he thought of the happy place and an evil smile appeared on his lips unconsciously. Hey, where is the system's destiny talisman? Advertisement, ding. The life talisman is in the coffin, and it is the formation eye that seals the corpse king. Close black lens bracket. At this moment Qixing's laughter stopped abruptly. Wukow, system brother, are you playing? Then how do we get it? Ding, it's host, go get it. You, forget it. Let them test the level of the corpse king first. After all, they slept for 10,000 years and just woke up. They shouldn't be strong enough to kill Hashirama and Madara instantly. As he spoke, he took out a stool and sat aside to watch the show. However, within 100 meters of the 7 stars, no green poisonous mist could invade. This also puzzled Hashirama and Madara. I really don't know what kind of existence Senior 7 stars is. But this is not the time for the two of them to be distracted. Because the mummy that was supposed to be sitting in the coffin actually stood up and walked out of the coffin. Although its hands and legs were trapped by thick chains, after this guy came out, the situation on the entire 3rd floor of the cave instantly changed. Changes occur. The two of them felt as if the poisonous mist around them had come to life and kept drilling into their bodies. This made Hashirama and Madara already have plans to retreat. After all, the two of them couldn't find a good guy when they joined forces. In the past, they didn't believe that such a thing existed. But now, the reality is in front of us, and there is more than one, and there is also a pervert behind him. But the corpse king, who had already stepped out of the coffin, had no intention of letting the two of them go. I saw the corpse king taking out a broad knife as big as a door panel from the coffin and waving it gently, causing the surrounding space to explode. Hashirama and Madara were dumbfounded and quickly backed away. But at this moment, Hashirama and Madara felt as if their bodies had been hollowed out due to absorbing the green poisonous mist for a long time, and became a little weak. Although the two of them knew that this green poisonous mist was definitely not a good thing, they never expected that this mist had a strong paralyzing effect. Unless you don't breathe, it's difficult to escape the poisonous mist, but fortunately this poisonous mist is a chronic anesthesia, otherwise the consequences would be disastrous. Qixing also frowned at this time. Is this the realm of corpse poison? Hashirama and Madara lost most of their combat power quietly. Sure enough, a skinny camel is bigger than a horse. Even a peak immortal level being that is 80% sealed cannot be moved by a mere 6 paths level person. Looking at Hashirama and Madara, they quickly retreated, but no matter how they retreated, there always seemed to be a tall door panel in the sky that was about to hit them. Sure enough, although the two were fast, they were not faster than the corpse king's sword. Even with the body replacement technique, neither of them had time to use it. They only heard a bang and their bodies were directly smashed into the hard ground a foot deep. 2 mouthfuls of blood spurted out of his mouth. The corpse king made a casual move, and the blood that spurted out from the two people's mouths was actually held in the corpse king's hand, and then thrown into his mouth. With just such a movement, the corpse king's skinny face seemed to stop mid-charge. There was actually a hint of fullness. It's also Hashirama's fault. The energy and blood in his cells are too strong. Just such a mouthful of blood is comparable to the blood of thousands of ordinary people. I think it tastes better than Tang Monk's meat. This also made the corpse king a feast for the eyes. He stared straight at Hashirama. Just as the corpse king was preparing to suck the two of them dry again, their figures embedded in the hard floor suddenly disappeared and appeared at Qixing's feet. Apparently Qixing used his space ability to save the two of them. Looking at the corpse king again, I could see that there was already a trace of expression on his withered face. When he looked at Qixing, he frowned slightly and raised the door panel sword. Qixing asked the system, is the corpse king strong at long range? Ding. Host, the corpse king does not have long range attack capabilities. Close black lens bracket. FKU. The system is causing trouble. Look at me. I'm almost 1,500 meters away from the corpse king. You told me that the corpse king doesn't have long range attack capabilities. Then come out and see what the sword energy flying towards me is. Chapter 144 Fighting the Corpse King. After a second of silence, the system gave the answer. Ding. This sword energy is the inherent ability of that big sword. Close black lens bracket. Hearing this, Qixing let out a light sigh. What kind of sword is this door panel? It can also bring its own sword energy. Open black lens bracket. Ding. Target, Zanpakuto. Type, shield knife. Level, artifact. Skills. Sword chi, sword formation, sword soul. Close black lens bracket. Note. This sword was made by a famous craftsman in ancient times. It has been with the Guardian for 10,000 years. It has been nourished by the Guardian's corpse energy day and night, and the soul is born in the sword, which can kill people. Close black lens bracket. Seeing this, Qixing also understood that this sword energy was not simple. Immediately, his hair color turned golden. He swung out the 7-star sword in his hand, and used the word spirit slash. He saw a golden sword energy, piercing the cold sword energy. The two energies collided without making any sound. Obviously, these attacks cancelled each other out, and the Corpse King was not as scary as imagined. After all, although the Corpse King in front of me is strong, his combat power is suppressed by 80% by the chain. The combat power he can exert at this time should only be at the early stage of immortal level. But that big sword makes up for his shortcomings. Even so, I think I should be able to fight him head on. Thinking of this, Qixing no longer hesitated, holding the 7-star sword in his hand. His hair color changed again, greenness swept through his body, and Qixing's figure had already rushed out, and the green chakra energy was poured into the 7-star sword. The sword exploded with energy, doubled in length, and struck the Corpse King head on. The Corpse King roared angrily, raised the sword on the door panel, and faced Qixing. With a click, the two soldiers connected. The violent energy at the collision set off a storm. Countless ripples spread under the feet of the two men. The hard floor on the ground had been stepped on and cracked. The two weapons continued to wrestle. Continuous sparks flew up 3 meters from the collision point. This scene lasted for several minutes, and Qixing also went from the green-haired state to Super Saiyan 3. Only in this state can he compete with the Corpse King until now. But this is not a long-term solution. After all, this super strong state can only last for 30 minutes. Immediately after Qixing swung the 7-star sword with all his strength, he suddenly stepped back 100 meters, and his right hand was slightly numb. But the Corpse King looked at the 7 stars excitedly. At this time, the 7 stars had become more delicious food than Hashirama in the eyes of the Corpse King. The aura emanating from his body made the Corpse King like him even more. At this moment, the Corpse King was like a young girl, roaring with excitement when seeing her idol, and rushed directly towards Qixing. Qixing did not give up and shouted, 8 inner gates, the door of death is open. The red energy and the black magic thunder were entangled with each other. The moment Qixing kicked his legs to the ground, he quickly charged towards the Corpse King. When he was less than 10 meters away from the Corpse King, 3 saber auras flew out from the Corpse King's broadsword. This time Qixing had no intention of giving in. The 7-star sword was surrounded by red steam. While cutting off the saber aura head-on, Qixing's left-hand seal, fire-style Long Yan singing technique. I saw several dragon head-shaped flames attacking the Corpse King from 3 directions. The Corpse King just raised the door panel and blocked it in front of him. The blade doubled in width again. All 3 flames hit the blade without any impact. The slightest spark. The moment the Corpse King took out the broadsword on the door panel, 7 stars Heavenly Fire Crazy Dragon had already been used. 2 giant dragons compressed to 100 meters, seemingly spiritual, were soaring in the sky, looking for the most suitable opportunity to crash into the Corpse King. This is one of the abilities of the 7-star elemental dragon. Can impart high form energy, simple wisdom. At this time, the 7 stars had already divided into 4 clones, attacking the Corpse King from 4 directions. Seeing this, the Corpse King roared angrily. The 3-meter door panel sword was no longer blocked in front of him. Instead, it was held by the Corpse King with one hand. After swinging it, he threw it around his body. All 4 clones turned into white smoke and dissipated. And Qixing's Heavenly Fire Mad Dragon has already crashed head-on into the Corpse King. Several people only heard an angry roar and a violent roar. Cracks appeared on the golden floor, and violent flame energy radiated in all directions. The roar of the Corpse King gradually subsided. The flames also dissipated at this moment. Advertisement. Just when the 3 of them thought that the Corpse King was seriously injured, they saw the Corpse King's sword on the door panel split into 4, forming a sword formation that blocked all explosions. What's even more strange is that the Corpse King is not in the sword formation at this moment. As Qixing hurriedly released his senses, he quickly retreated 1,000 meters away. You should be at a safe distance if you want to come here. However, Qixing felt the threat of death behind him from what he thought was a safe distance. At this moment, a skinny claw appeared behind Qixing out of thin air and grabbed Qixing's vital parts. Qixing also reacted quickly. Kamui launched directly. The sharp claws grabbed nothing and then disappeared. However, when the claws appeared again, Nanahoshi did not dare to use Kamui anymore, because even if he used Kamui Hollow, Nanahoshi still felt the cold murderous intent, and he just held the Qixing sword horizontally behind his back. There was a click and a bang. After the sound, the 7-star sword, a ninja tool at the pinnacle of spiritual weapons, actually cracked under the grip. Qixing was also startled into a cold sweat and retreated hundreds of meters again. I secretly thought it was a fluke, but luckily I was able to defend myself. This time, the sharp claw finally did not appear again. The Corpse King also appeared next to the coffin. At this moment, Qixing was a full 1,500 meters away from the coffin. System, your uncle, come out. Didn't you say that the Corpse King will not attack me within 1,000 meters? Ding. The reason is that the Corpse King absorbed the blood of Hashirama and Madara, and its strength was unlocked to 30%. The coffin suppresses it by 70%. Please get the lifeguard quickly. Escape from the catacombs. Close black lens bracket. Hearing the words of the system, Qixing thought that the Corpse King must have deliberately pushed himself out of his attack range. Then he was shocked and looked at the isolation space he had just set up. Shit, this is bad. Hashirama is in danger. Sure enough, Qixing's words were verified. Hashirama and Madara, who were only 1,200 meters away from the coffin, were still in the isolation poisonous fog space created by Qixing just now. It was too late for Qixing to rescue him. The Corpse King may have already planned to absorb Hashirama cells and blood again. Sure enough, a ripple appeared in that isolated space, and then Hashirama's body was directly penetrated by sharp claws. At this moment, there was a bang, and Hashirama turned into white smoke and disappeared. Fortunately, Hashirama reacted in time and already had the body replacement technique in his hands. But even if he reacted in time, a large piece of flesh and blood was still scratched from his back by sharp claws. Hashirama grimaced in pain. When the two saw this, they quickly moved towards Qixing. The claws are still harassing. Qixing took out the ape magic wand, pushing towards the claws. There was an explosion, and at the moment when Hashirama was about to be captured, he was pushed away by the monkey rod. Hashirama and Madara also managed to escape behind Qixing. And a sneaky figure, taking advantage of the moment when the Corpse King was chasing Hashirama and Madara, appeared next to the coffin. As soon as it put its head into the coffin, it was grabbed by a sharp claw and turned into white smoke with a bang. Dissipate. This is the clone of Qixing. At this time Qixing finally saw clearly everything inside the coffin. There turned out to be a small space of its own, with a very large matrix placed in the space. 4 thick iron chains in the matrix stretched out from it, locking the Corpse King. And that destiny talisman, which is the formation eye, is right in the center of the matrix, extremely obvious. But it is difficult to get the talisman because there is a sharp claw guarding the matrix. And this is the big hand of the Corpse King. Unexpectedly, this guy's hands could move freely without his body. Chapter 145 Vientiane Seal. Seeing this scene, Qixing felt even more stressed. Moreover, something was wrong on the 3rd floor of the cave. After the brief confrontation with the Corpse King, Qixing had noticed that the energy of various attributes in the 3rd floor of the cave was rapidly dissipating. This also resulted in the 3 of them having to use physical skills to fight the Corpse King later on. The Corpse King's physical strength was already ridiculously strong, but now that he has absorbed Hashirama's cells again, the dry flesh and blood of his body once again becomes fuller. As one goes and the other goes, the combat power of both sides is getting further and further apart. The system's ruthless prompt tone also sounded at the same time. Ding! The Corpse King's strength has been unlocked by 35%. Host, please protect the Corpse King's food and don't let him succeed again. Close black lens bracket. FK. I got it. The distance that guy can attack is estimated to be more than 1,500 meters. At this time, in the 3rd floor, the 3 of them have almost retreated to the edge. If the Corpse King's strength is further unlocked, there may be no way to hide. Sure enough, it was just as Qixing had guessed. The attack distance of the Corpse King's claws increased again, and the 3 people had retreated to less than 10 meters away from the wall. At this time, the Corpse King's claws stopped less than 100 meters away from the 3 people. Hashirama and Madara breathed a sigh of relief at the same time, but Qixing had a strange feeling, as if the Corpse King had deliberately driven the 3 of them to the edge. Before Qixing could think of anything, a cold murderous intention came from behind, and 3 rusty Madara's iron swords stabbed the 3 people from inside the wall. Hashirama clasped his hands together and used the wood expulsion jutsu. A wooden shield shaped like a fang grimace appeared behind the 3 of them to defend against the iron sword's attack. While the 3 were frightened, they also fully trusted Hashirama's defensive capabilities and did not take too many actions. He just stood there and turned to look behind him. When Qixing turned back, he saw clearly the appearance of the creature behind him. It was a dried corpse very similar to the Corpse King, and it was covered with rusty Madara's scales. When walking around, the scales tinkled. The strangest thing is that 3 mummies walked out of the wall, but the wall behind them was not damaged at all. Is it Earth style? Could it be that these gangsters already knew that we would retreat here and hid themselves in advance to ambush us? If not, then there are probably mummies like this on all the surrounding walls. Qixing did not try to observe other walls, it just uses the system to detect the target's information. Open black lens bracket. Ding. Target, Iron Guard. Name, Millennium Iron Corpse. Realm, Middle 6 paths, Talent, Copper Skin and Iron Bones. Skills, Stealth / Iron Sword Pierce, Special Skill, Howling and Roaring. Note: he was once the bodyguard of the Corpse King. After his death, he was refined into a mummy by the owner of the cave and placed on the 3rd floor of the cave. While absorbing the yin energy of the Corpse King, It also protects everything on the third floor. When a creature approaches its range of 100 meters, it will be forced to wake up. Within 10,000 meters, it can be controlled by the Corpse King. Close black lens bracket. Seeing this, Qixing also understood the intention of the Corpse King. He wanted them to get close to the wall, help activate these 3 mummies, and then control more helpers to achieve his goal. I thought this Corpse King must be very intelligent, but I didn't expect that he was just the guardian of the cave. If he is the owner of this cave, how elegant he is. Maybe he has already settled everything. But Qixing didn't understand one thing. Why should the power of the Corpse King be sealed? If the Corpse King was in its prime, wouldn't it be able to sweep across the ninja world? Who else can come in here and take away the treasures here? Qixing didn't dare to think about it anymore. Although there was help from the system, at this time, his own strength was still unable to fight against existences beyond the immortal level. Everything those powerful people do, I think, has their intention. Advertisement at this moment, the 3 iron corpses had pierced the rusty sword into the wooden shield of Tusk Grimace, but no matter how hard they tried, they could not break free of the rusty sword from the wooden shield. The opportunity was rare. 7 stars formed a seal with their hands, and the spear formed by Yin and Yang escaped from the sky. It wanted to directly penetrate the 3 iron corpses. The iron corpses themselves moved slowly, and now they were controlled by others. But when the spear was still 1 foot away from the iron corpse, the 3 iron corpses raised their heads at the same time and roared. The violent sound waves formed dense ripples, and even fixed their spears in the air. Qixing was not surprised at all when he saw this. He knew that this was Iron Corpse's unique move, roaring wildly. Then cover your ears with energy to prevent them from being affected by sound waves. Then Kamui activated, and the distorted time and space directly crushed the upper body of the Iron Corpse. Madara, on the other hand, launched a powerful fire to extinguish the 3 iron corpses and burned them to death. The 3 of them cooperated perfectly. The iron corpse, with only half of its charred lower body left, fell to the ground. The 3 of them looked back at the Corpse King in the distance, and Qixing said, "The 3 of us will contain the Corpse King's actions, and I will send a clone into the Corpse King's coffin to retrieve the thing that controls the Corpse King." Hashirama and Madara did not doubt that he was there. They nodded and rushed towards the Corpse King. Originally, Qixing didn't want to be so impatient, but the time limit for Super League 3 was less than 10 minutes. I have no choice but to fight hard, hoping to successfully get that thing with the help of these 2 children of destiny. At this time, the 3 people moved towards the Corpse King in 3 directions. At the moment when they were within a kilometer of the Corpse King turned his head again. From his face that was half withered and half red, the 3 of them saw the most terrifying thing: smile. But the 3 of them did not stop. While rushing forward, the 3 of them used the Chow Mist technique at the same time. The entire space was plunged into a thick white fog. However, the thick fog dissipated at a speed visible to the naked eye before it lasted for 3 seconds, with looking at the Corpse King again, he has already sucked in all the thick fog into his belly like a whale sucking water. And the moment the thick fog dissipated, I saw the 7-star Heavenly Fire Crazy Dragon perform again. The 2 fire dragons rushed straight towards the Corpse King. The Corpse King also raised his sword. How could Hashirama and Madara miss such a good opportunity when they saw this? I saw Madara pressing her hands on the ground, using the summoning technique, 9 Tails Demon Fox, and then the powerful 9 Tails mode was formed. At the moment, a super large-tailed beast bomb was formed in the mouth of the blue 9 Tails. And Hashirama also used his Sage Art wood style true several thousand hands, to transform into a Buddha on top. After entering Sage mode, he clasped his hands together to create a huge Buddha statue with countless giant arms, controlled all the giant arms of true several thousand hands, and blasted towards the Corpse King. The Corpse King was attacked from both sides at this moment. Just when he wanted to use the knife array, he felt that the surrounding space seemed to have countless restrictions, making his body unable to move. This is exactly what you get from the 7-star lottery, the super powerful Forbidden Scroll, the seal of all things. It can imprison everything within 10 meters of the target for 3 seconds, render it incapacitated. But the Corpse King's strength and fighting consciousness were so ridiculous that he summoned his own hands, which instantly grew in size and became 10 meters in size. His hands were crossed and placed above the Corpse King's head. Prepare to block the 2 fire dragons. Just after the 3 seconds were stuck, the attacks of the 3 people fell on the Corpse King one after another. This time they hit the Corpse King for real. The tailed beast bomb and the true several thousand hands fell. The 2 fire dragons also followed. It falls. A very gorgeous explosion sounded in this space, 100 meters above the head. The extremely solid ceiling and the golden floor on the ground were already cracking. Even just now, the fierce battle between Qixing and the Corpse King only left scratches on the floor. You can imagine how powerful this explosion was. But none of this is the purpose. The real backup man, the 2 clones of Qixing, had already arrived at the coffin. Taking advantage of the firelight and the absence of the sharp claws, the clones jumped directly into it. When the fire dissipated, it was clear that the Corpse King's charred body was not seriously injured, but the big hands on top of his head were badly damaged by the explosion. At this time, the Corpse King roared angrily, and his dark body began to turn red. Ding! Host, please be aware that the Corpse King is going berserk. Strength restored by 50%. It is recommended that the host use imprint regression. Close black lens bracket. Chapter 146 Seal the Corpse King. Although he heard the system's words, how could Qixing be shaken? How could he be willing to give up because the clone might be about to succeed? But at this time, we were facing the Corpse King, who had at least recovered to the mid to late stage immortal level. How could we fight to escape from him, is a problem. And if the two burdens next to him, Hashirama and Madara, were eaten by the Corpse King again, they would probably be hunted down even if Qixing ran out of the cave. At this moment, Nanahoshi didn't even think about it, he instantly came to Hashirama's side and took him into his Kamui space without any words. Then he traveled through space again and took Madara into his Kamui space. This purpose is to prevent the Corpse King from gaining strength again. Qixing's behavior also angered the Corpse King. Corpse King Corpse didn't say much. He raised the Zanpakuto and swung the sword diagonally. The sword energy that rushed out was no longer white, but was similar to the white one. The color of the Corpse King's body is exactly the same, bright red. The terrifying red sword light wiped the ground and flew towards Qixing. No matter how Qixing dodges, he can't escape the lock of the sword light. Even if he enters the hollow, the sword light can still cut through the void and hurt Qixing. At this time, Qixing was complaining in his heart. Damn it, it turns out that all the guys who have reached the immortal level can travel freely through space. At this moment, Qixing finally woke up. The longer he stayed at the immortal level, the more terrifying his understanding of space became. At this time, the sword light is approaching, Qixing can only resist, and instantly summons the elemental dragon, which merges with itself. While the physical strength is increased several times, the death door of the 8 inner gates is opened again. At this moment, the black and red aura around Qixing was entangled, and all the violent energy was sent into the ape magic wand, blocking it in front of him. Just heard a loud bang. Qixing's body was directly knocked away, retreated 100 steps, and finally rested on a hard wall. His internal organs were shaken out of place, and he spit out a mouthful of blood several meters away. When the Corpse King saw this, he didn't waste any time. With one move with one hand, blood fell into his hands. Then he stretched out his withered tongue and rolled up the blood in his hand. The moment he entered the mouth, his expression was startled, and his spirit seemed to be in an ocean of natural rules. At this time, visible blood color had appeared on the other side of the Corpse King's face, and those tiny red meridians were traveling on his face. In just 2 breaths, the Corpse King's face, which had absorbed the blood of 7 stars, was completely human appearance. It's just that the body looks like a 1,000-year-old tree that has withered. At this moment, the Corpse King looked at Qixing with even more intense eyes. A chrysanthemum-like smile also bloomed on his face. He kicked the ground, jumped up, picked up the Zanpakuto with a large door, and slashed towards Qixing head-on. At this time, Qixing's body was injured by the shock. Even if he wanted to escape, he could not escape in such a short period of time. I saw Qixing's ability to activate the mask, hoping to delay time. Deluo Tianyan mask, all abilities are activated. The Corpse King saw Qixing's whole personality change and instantly became the master of the cave. A feeling of fear surged into my heart. Immediately put away the sword in midair, the figure suddenly landed on the ground, and knelt down on one knee. He shouted 2 words in a hoarse voice, "Master, you." Hearing this, Qixing came to his senses after being stunned for a few seconds. He knew that the mask ability had taken effect and the Corpse King must have seen the owner of the cave. Then he dug his body out from the wall, yelled loudly. "Bold, you dare to attack me, you are simply looking for death." However, Qixing didn't know that the Corpse King failed because of his sneak attack on the cave lord who was breaking through. Only then was he refined into a mummy by the Lord of the Catacombs. Seal it in the underground coffin. Control its freedom and let it guard the crypt forever. But even the Lord of the Cave did not expect that after 10,000 years, this guy would actually regain some of his memory. The strength has also improved. Already close to the Lord of the Cave back then. Since the Corpse King committed murder for the first time, of course there will be a second time. Although the Corpse King was kneeling at this time, he kept having an impulse in his heart, fighting against fear. Just as Qixing wanted to kill the Corpse King when he was unprepared. The red light in the Corpse King's eyes also lit up at this moment. The two of them actually took action at the same time. The Corpse King grabbed the broadsword on the door panel on the ground and flew it out with a sweep. 7 stars rose into the sky, and the ape magic wand grew instantly. It hit the Corpse King's head directly, and the Corpse King waved his hand to block. It made a clanking sound when it collided with the ape magic rod. Seeing that the sneak attack was fruitless, the 7-star figure retreated. But the Corpse King reacted too quickly and was not willing to give Qixing a chance. The Corpse King swung his sword again, and 2 bloody sword auras flew towards him. Qixing could only swing his stick to fly away 1 sword aura, but another one hit Qixing's back solidly. Advertisement, but this is just a clone. But when Qixing just walked out of the space, the Corpse King's door panel sword had already appeared above his head. Kui cursed and quickly used Kamui to teleport away. He didn't even want the 7 treasures here. But when Qixing just teleported 100 meters in space, he was blocked by the wall on the 3rd floor of the cave. FK. The walls here can actually block space teleportation. How is that possible? Why didn't the system prompt? Ding. Host has not detected the surrounding environment. Close black lens bracket. Good day. No matter where you go next time, it will be automatically detected without asking. Ding. The system has received the instruction. Close black lens bracket. Looking at the Corpse King again, he was looking at Qixing against the wall with a joking expression, as if to say, "Idiot, you still want to run away, my food, come to the bowl quickly." Seeing the Corpse King's passionate expression, Qixing's hair exploded. 7 clones suddenly separated, and the figure retreated in 7 directions. The main body rushed towards the hole in the ceiling. But the Corpse King is not a fool. He knows that if his food wants to leave, he can only leave through the hole above his head. How could the Corpse King let Qixing succeed? I saw the Corpse King shaking all over, and waves of transparent mist instantly enveloped a kilometer radius. The Wanhua Corpse Soul Realm is opened. Humanoid ghosts composed of clear smoke appeared at random points within a radius of 1 kilometer. As soon as Qixing entered the Kamui space, they were found by those ghosts. What greeted Qixing was more clear smoke, and these guys took away super corrosive properties. The moment he entangled Qixing, he heard a chi-chi-chi sound. These guys actually ignored the spatial barriers and came directly to their own Kamui space. While Nanahoshi was shocked, he also removed Kamui. The figure suddenly appeared outside. Before Qixing had any time to prepare, a violent blood-red sword energy approached Qixing's front door. Grass, come again. Qixing, who only had time to block, was blasted against the wall behind him again. The internal organs were already more injured than injured. If you continue like this, everything will probably be misaligned. Even if you have a superhuman physique, it will take a long time to recover. The scariest thing is that my super game transformation is less than a minute away. It's raining all night. How should I play now? Based on the principle of looking for the system when something happens, Qixing could only shout in his heart about the system. Uncle System, come to the rescue. Ding. Host can use the seal scroll to seal the Corpse King again. Close black lens bracket. Uncle System, don't make trouble. The only scrolls one have are the Fire Seal Scroll, the 8-Sign Seal Scroll, and the Vientiane Seal Scroll. Where else can I seal this Corpse King? And the Vientiane Seal can only last for 3 seconds. The 8-Sign Seal must touch the opponent's abdomen. Damn, I feel scared just thinking about it. As for the sealing Fire Seal, I can't think of any effect at this time. Uncle System, I understand what you mean. Okay, I can only smoke a few more times. I hope I can get something useful, otherwise, I might really end up here this time. With that said, Qixing hurriedly used Precision Lottery. He didn't even have time to look at the lottery results and just asked the system. Uncle, what scroll is there that can solve this urgent need? Ding. In the current predicament, it is recommended that the host use the unthinkable spell. This spell is specially designed to suppress soulless bodies, and the effect is significant. The duration depends on the user's strength. According to system calculations, host can use this spell for up to 1 minute. Close black lens bracket. Wackow, Mr. System, are you kidding me? 1 minute, you tell me this is called a long time. Ding. Host, aren't you very fast? You can already escape 3 times a minute. Close black lens bracket. Chapter 147 The Consequences of Indiscriminate Use of Dueling to Send Generals. At this time, Qixing was choked speechless by the system and retorted, I'm damn fast, but are you really okay with being so straightforward? But how could the system, a machine without emotions, pay attention to Qixing? After asking for trouble, Qixing directly took out the talisman from the space. At this moment, the figure that was constantly moving and dodging on the ground suddenly stopped. The Corpse King was also startled, but the food was in front of him. The broadsword jumped up again against the door panel and slashed towards Qixing. Qixing pretended to be scared and kept retreating. But the moment the Corpse King entered the range of the spell, Qixing waved out his right palm, and a talisman was directly attached to the Corpse King's navel. Because the distance was too close, the Corpse King didn't even have time to dodge, so he was immobilized by the talisman, and the inertia caused the Corpse King's body to fall directly on Qixing. Qixing originally thought that this talisman would be like a seal that sealed the sky, and could seal a 10-meter space, but who knew that this thing could only immobilize the creature itself. At this moment, a beautiful picture appeared. I saw the Corpse King motionless on top, with Qixing pressing his lower back to the ground, with one leg and both hands forming a triangle to support the Corpse King's body. At this time, it was extremely quiet on the 3rd floor of the cave. Even Qixing's breathing could be heard clearly. Qixing reacted and kicked the Corpse King away with his legs. Ding. Please be reminded by the system that the spell can still control the Corpse King for 43 seconds, and the host should not do such a boring thing as killing the Corpse King. Try it and you will find that you may not even be able to break through his defense. Close black lens bracket. Bullshit. Don't use this kind of friendly reminder. I've known for a long time that the guy hit him until now and exploded with all his strength. Except for the injuries to the claws that were separated from the body, not even a hair was lost on other parts of the body. Although I was angry, I didn't have enough strength, so I had to admit it. At this time Qixing stood up and did not leave directly from the cave above his head, but came to the coffin. The system then sent another prompt, ding. It is recommended that host leave now. The core of the formation is not so easy to obtain. Close black lens bracket. But Qixing just wanted to take a gamble. At worst, he could crush the mark now and travel through time and space directly. Back 60 years later. I have nothing to lose. Qixing made up his mind and jumped directly into the coffin without thinking. As soon as he entered it, he felt the vastness of the surrounding space, which was at least as big as 100 square meters residence. There are 4 huge pillars around it, and 4 thick iron chains protrude from the pillars. Next to each of the 4 giant pillars, there are 2 talismans that flicker in and out. I think this is the formation that confines this space. The stone tablet in the middle should be the Corpse King's life talisman. Qixing, who was about to enter the center of the formation, saw a scene that surprised him. I saw that the 2 clones released just now were each sucked by a talisman and unable to move, and 90% of the chakra in the bodies of the 2 clones had been sucked away. I'm afraid it will dissipate in a moment. Ding. Host still has 30 seconds. Please hurry up and escape before it's too late. Close black lens bracket. FK. The system, don't give me those useless things. Now tell me how to get the talisman in the middle. Ding. 2 conditions. 1. The host's strength has reached the peak of the immortal level. It can divide the power on the talisman and directly take the formation's life talisman. 2. The soul of the deceased can enter it without injury and take away the life talisman. Close black lens bracket. The soul can enter it. Why didn't you tell me earlier? Before the system could finish speaking, Qixing turned around and entered the spirit detaining state impatiently. Host and so on. Close black lens bracket advertisement, but how could Qixing listen to it? I saw Qixing clasping his hands together and slamming them towards the ground, and the generals of Juling were activated. The next moment, countless clear mist emerged from the ground, and hundreds of human-shaped smoke appeared. Each smoke was exuded with dense air, and kept roaring around Qixing. The strength of every spirit body that appeared here was above cage level. Qixing did not expect that so many powerful people had died here. But when Qixing wanted to take back his hands, all the energy in his body poured into the ground uncontrollably. Qixing's body began to dehydrate and shriveled up at a speed visible to the naked eye. There was no time to think too much. My thoughts controlled the fairy beans into space, and I poured them into my mouth desperately. The hands that touch the earth are constantly pouring energy into the ground. At this moment, Qixing's body was sometimes full and sometimes thin. Time passed quickly. In 10 seconds, Qixing's hands were finally able to leave the ground. At this time, Qixing looked bewildered and just wanted to know what had just happened. However, a terrifying black mist gave Qixing the answer. I saw a small opening in the hard earth, and an extremely thick black mist emerged from it. He instantly transformed into a human form. Although his face could not be seen clearly, the aura emanating from his body made the numbers wandering in the air. Hundreds of spirit bodies fled in all directions. I saw the big mouth of the black mist open and suck in suddenly. An invisible storm swallowed the spirit body formed by hundreds of clear mist into his belly. He licked his tongue and said, "It's delicious. I haven't enjoyed this delicious food for a long time. It's just too little, too little." When Qixing saw so many spirits disappearing in an instant, he was stunned for a second. Then he ignored them, looked at the black mist in front of him, and directly activated his ability to dispatch generals. At this moment, a white light in Qixing's hand flew into the human form of black mist. The humanoid black mist said disdainfully, "Little Doyle, that's not surprising." Then his body shook, and the white light that entered his body turned into starlight and disappeared. "I know what you want to do, kid, but if you take away the core of this place will be turned into ruins. Of course I am happy to see it, but there may be some interesting guys who will ask you for some interest. The price maybe it's your life. Are you sure you want to do this again?" At this time, Qixing thought in his mind. "I can't control what this place becomes. I'm leaving soon, no matter what it becomes." Then he said, "I just need what I want. If you can give it to me, I will leave." "Very good. Let's take those souls as reward. I hope we can have such a pleasant cooperation next time." With that said, with just one move with one hand, the core destiny talisman in the middle was directly taken into his hand and handed to Qixing. Qixing's heart was confused at this moment. How strong do you have to be to do this? Just waving your hand breaks the restriction that requires at least the peak of the immortal level to break. Furthermore, Qixing can't see through the person in front of him at all. Even if he silently chanted in his heart, the system didn't get the slightest response. This is the first time that the system ignored Qixing's call for more than 20 seconds. Qixing's hair stood on end at this moment, but he still bravely took the life talisman. "Thank you, senior. Can I ask your name?" "Hey, polite young man. Very nice. But I've been locked up here for so long that I almost forgot my name. You can call me Thanatos. Goodbye." With that said, the thick black fog just snapped his fingers, and all the black fog disappeared instantly. It was only at this moment that Qixing realized that he could not just use the Juling dispatch general anywhere. No, the consequences would be serious and he would almost overturn. Chapter 148 returned to original time and space, but fortunately, although the guy the first met this time was strong, he didn't have to worry about his life. After the black mist left, Qixing called out to the system again. At this time, the system finally came out. "System, I called you a few times just now, why didn't you show up?" Ding. "If I responded to you just now, that soul would notice my presence. Although I am not afraid of the other party, it is very difficult. He is just a split soul. It will be more troublesome if the main body arrives." Close black lens bracket. "Haha, I really didn't expect that there are people in the ninja world who are so powerful that even you are a little afraid of them." The system heard this but remained silent. At this time, Qixing no longer bothered too much, because the time was up. Not only was it time for his own transformation, but even the Corpse King had also gotten rid of his restraints. At this moment, the Corpse King roared and jumped into the coffin. When he saw Qixing holding the life talisman, his eyes turned red. Holding the big knife, he slashed at Qixing. But Qixing didn't panic at all. He just looked at the life talisman in his hand. A drop of blood had already dripped on it, and the white life talisman instantly turned red. A line of blood quickly flew into the Corpse King's brain. The Corpse King also stopped charging forward at this second. At the same time, the system prompt sounded again. Ding. Congratulations to host for getting the witchcraft charm. Close black lens bracket. Ding. Congratulations to host for successfully controlling the Corpse King. Close black lens bracket. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the 8 Directions Corpse Training Formation. This formation has a certain chance of allowing the powerful corpse to gain part of its memory. The longer the time, the greater the chance of success. Close black lens bracket. After hearing the prompt, Qixing was very excited at this time. I am not happy because I control the Corpse King, but I control the Corpse Queen. Everything in the 3rd floor of this cave belongs to me. Ha ha ha. Thinking of this, Qixing directly took the Corpse King into the Kamui space, then jumped out of the coffin and came to the 3rd floor. He raised his eyes and looked at the treasure house ahead. It is full of dazzling arrays and filled with all kinds of magical items. Each item emitted a faint light, but when Qixing placed his hand on it, the items instantly turned into ashes. The first is true, and most of the following are true. At this moment, Qixing tried one by one, and in the end, he only got a few ninja tools that surpassed the 6 pads level, and a few bottles of medicine with a slight fragrance that were still usable, and the rest were dissipated in the long river of time. Walking to the end of the treasure house, only the stone platform in the deepest part of the treasure house is left. There are 5 strange light groups. There is a golden bracket under each light group, but there are no more on 2 of the brackets. The light group had obviously been taken away. The remaining 5 light groups all possess very powerful sealing powers. I think the items inside will not disappoint. At this time, Qixing walked to the light group. Pick up the middle one casually. Just when Qixing tried to open it, the light group disappeared automatically. Then a strange compass fell into the hands of Qixing. The compass is about the size of a palm and is completely black. Only the white pointer is still rotating, as if it is guiding the 7 stars in one direction. But now Qixing has no time to explore this. Just ask the system, what is this compass of the system? Ding. The mysterious compass has super powerful guiding power, allowing the host to never lose its way anywhere. Close black lens bracket. Hey, the mysterious compass, the system doesn't know its origin, or that's the name of the compass. Advertisement, this is very strange. Let's keep it for now, since it is placed in one of the 5 light groups, it must be a very important thing, at least to the owner of the cave. Maybe I can use it in the future. This is true. When Qixing set foot in the void, he discovered that the compass was really useful, but that was all a story later. After Qixing put away the compass, he wanted to get other light groups, but there are no figures anywhere in the 4 light groups in front of me. And while Qixing was stunned, the entire cave began to shake. Sure enough, the black smoke was right. After taking away the core talisman of the formation, the ruins of this cave will collapse. At this time, Qixing was no longer greedy. He turned around and quickly flew towards the cave above his head. At this moment, countless ceilings fell from overhead. The 7-star body hollow perfectly avoided all falling rocks and appeared directly on the 2nd floor of the cave, and then Kamui teleported. The figure immediately came to the sky above the demonic desert. Just watch the quicksand below collapse. At this moment, I can't help but sigh. The power of nature is indeed beyond the comparison of human power. It turns out that this cave was destroyed because of me, and the ruins were eventually occupied by the giant magic light ants, and I finally eliminated the giant magic light ants. Sure enough, the way of heaven is good for reincarnation. After being in a daze for a while, the 7 stars suddenly sounded, Hashirama and Madara in Kamui space. The next moment, Mangekyo Sharingan turned around, and the 2 figures immediately appeared next to Nanahoshi. But the 2 of them didn't expect Qixing to stay thousands of meters high in the sky. As soon as they appeared, the 2 of them were a little frightened, but suddenly they found that their feet were being dragged by an invisible force and they couldn't fall down at all. Hashirama looked at the 7 stars in front of him, said, "Thank you, Senior, for your help many times. No need, things are done here, it's time for me to leave." "Then can we meet again, Senior?" "Of course, but only if you can survive until that time." Hashirama looked depressed when he heard this. "Maybe I have no chance. I know my own body, and I will leave the ninja world in 3 years at most. Indeed, my fairy beans can only suppress the energy in your body. It is estimated that even the Ant King himself cannot clear that energy. Maybe this is fate, but believe me, we will meet again." "Kindness. Senior, can I ask your real name?" "Ha ha ha," the laughing Qixing looked at Madara. Answered, Uchiha_Qixing. The 2 were shocked when they heard the name. They all said in unison, "Senior, you are the ancestor of the Uchiha clan." Qixing almost laughed when he heard this, but in the end I endured it. He didn't say much at the moment, just waved his hands with his back to the 2 of them. "See you soon." After saying that, Qixing's figure instantly disappeared in front of the 2 of them, and where the 7 stars disappeared, 2 round beans were spinning in the air. They both reached out to grab it at the same time. 1 per person. The moment they caught the beans, the power beneath their feet also dissipated. The two figures just fell freely, and they both made a tacit understanding without using any ninjutsu and fell straight into the desert. Although both of them got what they wanted, they had different thoughts at the moment. Madara thought, our ancestors actually have such strong people, it seems that I am still too weak. Hashirama was a little lucky, fortunately, I didn't listen to Tobirama before and kill all the Uchiha people in Konoha. After taking a tour of the landscape of the Sengoku period, Qixing felt that it was no different from the ninja world of later generations. Simply choose to crush the mark and return to the original time and space. Chapter 149 C4 Garuda, Nanobomb. At the same time, in the ninja world, in the center of the forest, a figure stepped on the top of a tree and ran forward quickly, while dozens of figures below the giant tree were chasing the people on the top of the tree. Looking at the service, most of them are elite Jonin from Cloud Shinobi Village and Rock Shinobi Village. The person running ahead was none other than the incarnation of Chi. This guy didn't know what kind of hornet's nest he had stirred up, and was being chased by a group of elite Jonin. And looking at the aura on Chi's body, it actually broke through its own shackles in the half-month when the main body was absent, and its realm has reached the late stage of Super Cage level. As for why he was chased instead of killing a few bugs, the matter must start with Chi giving up on Naruto as a gourmet food store. A few days ago, this guy didn't know what happened, and he started looking around for other guys with tailed beast chakra. But Jinchuriki, who has a tailed beast, is so easy to find. Not to mention that he is alone and has no information. Moreover, there is Akatsuki competing with him for the tailed beast, and he is no match for Pain in 6 paths. We can only do the next best thing and look for some powerful summoning beasts. As for what to do after you find it, of course it is to eat the gourmet cells to evolve yourself. Of course, Chi does the same thing. In just 10 days, he had eaten all over the north and south of the ninja world. Start looking for the summoning beast from the kingdom of fire, to the kingdom of earth, the kingdom of water, the kingdom of thunder, and the kingdom of wind. As long as the summoning mon from the 5 major kingdoms did not stay in the ninja village, it could be said that he had eaten them all. This also resulted in many ninjas summoning large piles of bones when fighting. The instigator, Chi, last appeared in the kingdom of wind. Due to the flat terrain, he was roasting and eating a saloon and was discovered by the pursuers. Chi was also in a playful mood and did not take the guys behind him seriously. He ran all the way from the kingdom of wind to the kingdom of fire. Along the way, countless ninjas who lost summoning beasts vented all their anger on Chi when they learned that they had found a guy who ate summoning beasts. Everyone thought it was him. Although some people resort to this strategy just because they can't find the real culprit. But what these people did was really right. Their summoning beast was really eaten by Chi, a big eater. There is no injustice at all. Just when Chi was getting excited and wandering around with the guys behind him, he discovered that there was a strong battle wave nearby. It seems that I am very lucky. If there is a battle, there will be a good show, and maybe there will be something delicious. After speaking, the speed increased again. When the dozens of people behind saw Chi speeding up, they thought the guy was about to run away, so they all speeded up. And a fat man behind him gasped, "Stop running so fast. That guy has been locked by my tracking mark and can't escape. There are strong battle fluctuations nearby. We'd better slow down and observe the surroundings." But Fatty's proposal was not recognized by anyone. Most of them were elite Jonin, and the next step was cage level, and they were afraid of such small scenes. As he said that, the large army followed and speeded up. Only the fat man ended up in the end. And Chi finally came to the vicinity of the battle, and saw that Chi's body became transparent at this moment. His legs suddenly kicked towards the branches under his feet, and his body rose into the sky. Only when it is close to 1,000 meters can it hang in the air. At this time, a white cloud lifted it up, and Chi also lay down. Seeing people from the Akatsuki organization below, fighting with the main body's younger brother Uchiha Sasuke, he suddenly became interested. On the battlefield at this moment, I saw a guy wearing a black-red cloud costume, riding a white fat dragon. This man was Deidara, hereinafter referred to as Xiao Didi, from the Akatsuki organization. Advertisement at this moment, little Didi quickly formed seals with her hands, and the big fat dragon at her feet instantly spat out a small fat dragon from its mouth and flew towards Sasuke on the ground. The moment it approached Sasuke, the little fat dragon exploded. Sasuke, on the other hand, relied on his extremely fast speed to avoid the scope of the explosion. The body retreated 100 meters backward. But the moment his feet hit the ground, he found that the ground under his feet was soft, and a strong explosion occurred the next second. When the smoke and dust cleared, a large pit of more than 10 meters appeared on the ground. Sasuke in the pit also activated the second state of the curse seal to prevent this wave of explosions. At this moment, 2 huge flesh wings grew out of Sasuke's back. The hairstyle also looks very much like Sha Mat. At this moment, buried love Sasuke appears again. At this time, another member of the Akatsuki organization appeared not far from Sasuke. This person was the missing Afei. When little Didi saw Afei completing his mission of laying mines, he asked him to stay away. "Leave the fighting to me." Seeing Sasuke's embarrassed appearance, little Didi flying in the air proudly told Sasuke, "Now your feet are densely covered with clay bombs. As long as you step on them, they will blow you away with a bang. And you can never attack me." After saying that, he stepped on the fat white dragon and continued to rise. While rising, it continued to fire dragon bombs towards Sasuke below. But Sasuke did not dodge, but used his huge flesh wings to block Didi's attack just now, which also caused Sasuke to turn into an angel with broken wings. Little Didi smiled when she saw this scene. He was about to launch another flying dragon bomb to end the battle, but as soon as he formed the seal, two Fuma shuriken flew from behind Little Didi. At the moment when Little Didi was trying to avoid the wind demon's shuriken, she, who was hiding in the sky watching the show, took a breath, and a gust of wind shook the fat dragon in the air. Sasuke on the ground also found an opportunity. The moment he kicked off the ground with his legs, he quickly rose into the air and launched lightning-style Chidori spear. The wings of the flying dragon were cut off in an instant. The flying dragon, with only one wing left, lost its balance and began to fall to the ground. Immediately afterwards, Sasuke held the steel wire, controlled two Fuma shurikens, and directly pinned Little Didi to the back of the fat dragon. The huge flying dragon fell to the ground and detonated the clay bomb underground, causing an explosion in an instant. The smoke and dust even covered the sky and the sun. Sasuke, on the other hand, formed a seal with his hands, activated the snake's claws, and turned his arms into small snakes that extended 10 meters, grabbed a branch not far away, and landed on it. The smoke and dust cleared from the battlefield. Although Little Didi was not killed by the explosion, he was seriously injured. At this moment, he changed his mount and flew into the sky again. When Didi looked at Sasuke again, she was extremely angry. This time Little Didi stopped making small fuss, and while quickly forming seals with her hands, a huge amount of clay spit out from Little Didi's mouth. After falling to the ground, a huge Didi formed directly. This is one of Didi's unique skills. C4 Garuda, Nano Bomb. When Sasuke saw the giant Didi walking towards him, he kept warning of danger in his heart. He turned around and wanted to escape from the range of this huge Little Didi. But how could Little Didi give Sasuke a chance? Little Didi, who was riding on the flying bird, made seals with his hands and shouted, "Explode!" The giant Didi's body began to expand, and then exploded on the spot with a loud bang. However, the giant explosion did not cause much movement, because this was Little Didi's unique nano bomb. At the moment of the explosion, there will be countless small nanobombs invisible to the naked eye, radiating in all directions, with a horrifyingly wide range. All creatures that inhale this nanobomb will disintegrate from the inside as long as Little Didi gives an order. Dissipates instantly. Chapter 150 The Troublemaking Duo. The moment Little Didi detonated the nanobomb with a soft drink. Within a radius of 10,000 meters, countless creatures had their bodies shattered due to inhaling the nanobombs. Even Sasuke turned into ash before Deidara's eyes. However, Sasuke's death was just Didi falling under Sharingan's illusion. Really, just when Deidara was proud of his masterpiece, Sasuke appeared directly behind Little Didi, and the Chidori spear instantly penetrated Little Didi's body. But Little Didi was also cunning, and what Sasuke pierced was only Little Didi's clay clone. And the moment Sasuke wanted to take back his hand, Little Didi's true form appears, spits out a ball of black clay, and wraps Sasuke. And this ball of black clay is already covered with nano clay bombs. At this moment, Sasuke noticed something and quickly used Sharingan. He looked inside his body and found that his blood was filled with this kind of nanobomb. However, it was supposed to be a perfect plan, but it went awry due to conflicting attributes, and it was Xiao Didi's misfortune that caused it. Sasuke's thunder attribute just restrains Didi's earth attribute. Sasuke was surrounded by lightning, and the clay bombs in his body instantly lost their effect, turning them into dumb bombs. The next moment, Sasuke activated Chidori to rush out of the black clay. He spread his wings and flew towards Little Didi. When Didi saw this, she shouted loudly and tried to detonate the nano clay bomb in Sasuke's body. But Little Didi didn't notice that the moment Sasuke's Sharingan turned, Little Didi was hit by the illusion again. When Didi landed on the ground, she saw Sasuke's broken body falling to the ground at the same time, disappeared without a trace. He couldn't help laughing and said, "Finally, I won." But when Little Didi was happy about her victory, a pair of Sharingans suddenly appeared behind her. Little Didi was startled and her mind was stagnant for a second. The next moment, a fist as big as a casserole hit Little Didi directly in the face. He actually smashed him 8 feet away. But Little Didi is also a man, the kind who is ruthless and doesn't talk much. At this moment, Sasuke's condition was obviously extremely exhausted, and Little Didi saw a rare opportunity. 2 thick and long snake heads were instantly released to tie up Sasuke, but Sasuke didn't panic at all and used the last chakra to release lightning style. The second Didi saw lightning style, she immediately severed the connection between thick and long and herself, to avoid being affected by lightning. However, when Little Didi saw Sasuke's pretentious look with a hint of disdain in his eyes, he instantly became furious. That look made him feel that this was completely denying his own art. That look that ignored his art was absolutely unforgivable to Didi. At this moment, Sasuke is still obsessed with finding out about his brother Uchiha Itachi, because killing that man is the motivation for him to gain and even become stronger. But Little Didi's mentality was completely blown away. The moment her eyes shrank, she took off her shirt and wanted to show Sasuke her treasure. Sasuke's eyes happened to see a strange pattern on Didi's chest. At this moment, Didi raised her hand to unblock the pattern. Instantly a big mouth similar to the one on the palm appeared. Little Didi took out a handful of clay without hesitation and fed it to the mouth on her chest. As the clay entered, cracks appeared on Little Didi's body. There were more and more cracks, and little Didi's body gradually became transparent. At this time, little Didi said proudly, "This is my ultimate art, self-destruction, ha ha ha." Chi, who saw this scene in the sky, frowned and said, "You actually want to show off your self-destruction for a moment to prove your art. It's a very interesting guy. If the power is good, I will consider keeping you, hey hey." Advertisement. When Sasuke saw little Didi being so crazy, he immediately wanted to evacuate, but at this moment, I was exhausted and couldn't escape at all. Sasuke also knew that he could not avoid the self-destruction of the madman in front of him. The only way to escape this disaster is by using Orochimaru's summoning beast, Banjirai. The moment little Didi shouted out, Sasuke bit his finger and summoned Wan Shi, who was about to negotiate terms with Sasuke when he appeared. But I didn't expect that there was only a huge burst of white light in front of me. At this moment, Sasuke uses Sharingan to forcibly control Wan Shen, but this will take time. Just when the white light is about to reach Sasuke, a wooden shield shaped like a fang grimace appears in front of him, replacing him. He resisted for a second and gained time to control Wan Shi. That's right, Shi took action. However, the shield only lasted for a second in the explosion before quickly dissipating, and Sasuke also penetrated into the belly of Wan Snake because of this moment. Wan Shi only had time to say one sentence. Damn it, Sasuke was overwhelmed by the horrific explosion. But even after escaping to the space in the belly of the snake, Sasuke's body was still seriously injured and on the verge of death. In order to avoid being affected, the chi in the sky quickly rose to tens of thousands of meters. A few seconds after the explosion, a thick white light pillar illuminated the entire Fire Nation. Everyone who saw this light pillar closed their eyes and felt uneasy. After a while, they all walked towards the direction of the light pillar. The elite Jonin from each village who were chasing Chi just now were reduced to ashes at this moment. When Chi opened his eyes, the ground within 10 kilometers had been razed to the ground. A large pit of nearly 10,000 meters appeared in front of Chi. At this moment, Chi couldn't help but sigh. This kid is really a damn talent. Even the original body in its heyday probably couldn't defend against the explosion just now. It seems this kid is still useful. As he spoke, his figure dropped rapidly, come to the center of the giant pit. While biting his finger, he quickly formed seals with his hands. The generals will rise up. The next moment, a weak soul that was about to enter the pure land space was forcibly detained by Chi. At this moment, looking at the magnificent soul in his hand, Chi joked. Just to fight for a breath, you actually use your soul to be so magnificent. I believe you are evil. Little Didi, please follow me from now on. With me, Chi, here, you will definitely not die so easily. Your real art has just begun. Maybe you will be my biggest helper in breaking away from my true body. Don't worry about your physical body. It won't be long before you have one, or even several, more perfect bodies. Little Didi, who was drooping his head at this moment, was too weak to speak. He just blinked his eyes in agreement. In this way, the troublemaking duo was officially established. When the members of Sasuke's snake team saw the thick white light pillar, they took out Sasuke's snake-shaped scroll. The remaining Sasuke's aura on it was extremely weak. Then one of the team members, Kaiden Suigetsu, took out Sasuke's blood and forcibly used the summoning technique to summon Sasuke to his side. As the summoning technique was activated, Wan Shi appeared in front of several people, dying. Sasuke, on the other hand, tremblingly appeared from behind Wan Shi, holding his body. After seeing his teammates, he finally couldn't hold on and fainted. At the same time, Qixing, who crushed the mark, finally returned to his hometown after experiencing darkness for who knows how long. Tianji Tower. Chapter 151. The mysterious compass is worth millions. At this moment, Qixing understood that this trip to Lulin would definitely gain good points. Sure enough, as soon as he entered the Tianji building, the mission completion sound sounded crazily. Ding! Congratulations to host, who witnessed the Battle of the Valley of the End and received the title of Legend, a witness of the times. Effect. Wearing the title, the body will exude an ancient atmosphere. Please explore the use by yourself. Ding! Congratulations to host for sealing the Ant King. If you successfully conquer it within 3 days, you will be rewarded with 20,000 points. Close black lens bracket. Ding! Congratulations to host for conquering the Corpse King. The reward points are 3,000. Close black lens bracket. Ding! Congratulations to host for obtaining some cave treasures. You can exchange the unusable items into points. If the system is successfully upgraded to level 3, the system mall can be opened. Close black lens bracket. Ding! The task of opening the mall has been released and is limited to 30 days. If you open the mall for the first time, you can get 1 million points for mall overdraft. Ding! The system has enabled the treasure redemption points function. Close black lens bracket. Before the system could finish speaking, Qixing said in shock. System, why are you so angry? The third level system can open the mall. Why didn't you tell me earlier? Ding! The prerequisites are not met and the host is not strong enough. Close black lens bracket. Alright. It seems that one must break through to the 6 paths level. At this stage, he can be considered a true powerhouse. So, Mr. System, how many points are needed for this upgrade? Ding! Upgrading the system to level 3 requires 200,000 points. Close black lens bracket. Hearing this price, Qixing cursed in his heart. But I still couldn't resist the temptation of the system mall. But how can I have 200,000 points now? Forget it, most of the things in the cave are of no use, why not exchange them for points? The system will exchange all the items I got in the cave, except the compass, into points. Ding. Sorry host, the system only charges items above the immortal level, or items with the power of rules. Close black lens bracket. Then how many points can I exchange for the things I get? Ding. Congratulations to host, you got 47,201 points. That's a lot of stuff for only 40,000, how much can I exchange for my mysterious compass? Ding. Compass can be exchanged for 1 million points. Does host need to redeem it? Close black lens bracket. Qixing was shocked when he heard this score. What on earth is this that is so valuable? Then if it's so valuable, of course I won't change it, you think I'm stupid. Qixing then calculated the harvest this time. This time I got 47,000 points plus my previous 9,200 points, plus the system reward just now, and the 3,000 points recovered from the Corpse King, a total of 86,200 points. I am still close to opening them all. Just as I was thinking about the problem, the system prompt sounded again. Ding. Congratulations to host for improving its strength and stabilizing it at the early stage of 6 paths level. Trigger optional tasks. Fight 6 paths pain without using any boosts. If you win, you will get 30,000 points. If you tie, you can get 10,000 points. If you are negative, you will be responsible for the consequences. There is no limit to the task time. Close black lens bracket. Hearing this, Qixing was surprised and said, the system gives you so many options. Do you think I might lose? Advertisement, ding. According to system testing, if the host does not use any increase and relies solely on its own strength, the failure rate is 40%. Close black lens bracket. Is it so high? It seems that every 6 paths level is not weak. Huh, even if I don't use any increase, I can still defeat pain. After saying that, Qixing stood up and was about to leave the second floor. Quan, the girl, actually opened the door at this moment. The first time he saw Qixing, he rushed over excitedly. Brother Qixing. You are back. Well. Why, Quan, you seem very tired. Don't put all your energy into the Tianji Pavilion. You need to rest properly, and your strength also needs to be improved. I know Brother Qixing, I just feel uneasy lately. It seems like something is about to happen, but all my relatives are gone. Why is this still happening? Hearing Quan's words, Qixing, as a time traveler, suddenly thought of something. No, 2 big events will happen one after another in the past few days. One is that Jiraiya will go to Rain Shinobi village to collect Pain's secrets and die there. The other is the life and death battle between my 2 idiot brothers. I'm afraid it will start in these 2 days, time is running out. And now I have to recover the Ant King and gain points, only by opening them all. Thinking of this, Qixing quickly opened the spring. Okay, girl Quan. I'm going out now, there are very important things to do. I will bring your sweetheart back to you soon. Really, brother Qixing? Of course. So now you have to rest well and take care of yourself. Be prepared to meet him. After saying this, Qixing's figure disappeared directly in front of Quan. After hearing Qixing's words, Quan nodded heavily. Being able to see Itachi soon, Chunin couldn't help but feel excited, and the sleepiness he had just felt was diluted by this happiness. I can only go downstairs again to take a look at the increasingly large Tianji Pavilion. At the same time, after Qixing left Tianji Tower, he came directly to the sky above the Valley of the End. We can't waste any more time. The mall needs to be opened. That guy Jiraiya can't die. That's the experimental subject Amato specified. Without Jiraiya, Amato, the genius scientist, is not willing to stay in Tianshumen. It's really F***ed. It seems that distinguished heavenly gods will have to be used on Amato sometime. Thinking of this, Qixing's eyes narrowed, and a red light shot out for several meters. Then he quickly formed a seal with his big hand and slammed it towards the ground beneath his feet, and instantly the ground began to tremble violently. Then a sharp mountain with a height of tens of meters slowly rose up from the bottom of the Valley of the End. The Ant King's big head was finally revealed. Qixing stepped forward. Seriously, Ant King. We haven't seen you for 60 years, so you should think about it carefully. The Ant King was confused and heard the sound coming into his ears. Then something came to mind. Swearing loudly. You be ************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** underground for 60 years. You spent my youth with me. I'm 61 years old this year. How many years do I have left to live? As he spoke, the excited Ant King actually started crying. Seeing this, Qixing was stunned and said, "Weren't you very tough at first? How could you do that? You beast. Just bury yourself in this dark underground for 60 years and see. I'm already old. I didn't do anything when I came to this world. I'm already old." Although strong men have a long lifespan, my ant tribe is born with a short lifespan. Moreover, we have only just broken through the early stage of the immortal level and have not yet mastered our own domain. My lifespan is only less than 200 years. UB*********** D actually consumed a third of me in one go. Okay, stop chirping. I'm tired of hearing this. Finally, I'll give you a choice. Sign this contract scroll. From now on, you will be my summoning beast. As for Shoyuan, don't worry, I'm here, you won't die. But if you resist, you will be trapped here forever. I will not take back 5 Elements Mountain until you die. No, don't. I sign everything, as long as you let me out. Boss. I don't want to wither in this dark place anymore. Chapter 152 The Battle Between Jiraiya and Pain's Six Paths. At this time, the Ant King's voice sounded so miserable, how helpless it is. Seeing this, Qixing didn't waste any time and directly threw out the soul contract scroll. When the scroll approached the Ant King's forehead, the scroll turned into starlight and penetrated into it. The Ant King's soul has voluntarily carved a soul imprint into his sea of consciousness. Since then, the Ant King was finally taken under Qixing's command. So far, Qixing has 3 powerful powers, the Ant King, the Corpse King, and the juvenile 10 Tails. If these 3 guys all grow up, Qixing may be able to run sideways in the ninja world. At this moment, when he got a satisfactory result, Qixing did not hesitate. He waved his right hand and the talisman on the 5 Elements Mountain was directly opened by it. The big hand suddenly slashed down, and the golden hill tens of meters high was actually shaken by this palm. The Ant King, who was pinned down at the foot of the mountain, seemed to feel something. After struggling hard, he finally escaped from the mountain after 10 seconds. When he came out, he was covered in dust and naked, and his eyes glowed green when he looked at Qixing. He wanted to choose someone to devour, but his body refused to obey and was restrained by some kind of power. At this time, as long as the Ant King has murderous intentions towards Qixing, he will not be able to get close to Qixing. Even the body cannot move. This is also the ability of the soul contract scroll, and the summoning beast cannot harm its owner at all. No matter how angry the Ant King is at this moment, it will not help. I saw Qixing snap his fingers, and a round bean appeared in front of the Ant King. The Ant King had seen this bean 60 years ago. It was the bean in front of him that instantly restored the seriously injured Madara and Hashirama to their original state. The Ant King looked at the shiny beans and couldn't help but swallow his saliva. There was no trace of anger in his heart, and he said softly, "Boss, is this for me?" Qixing smiled, said nothing, and just threw the fairy beans to the Ant King. The Ant King was so happy that he opened his mouth and bit it. In just 2 breaths, the Ant King's body quickly became full of vitality. The shriveled muscles became as strong as if they were inflated. However, because he had just broken through to the immortal level and was not completely stable, he was sealed in the earth by the 7 stars for 60 years. As a result, the Ant King's current level has temporarily fallen back to the 6 paths level peak. If you want to rush forward again, you may need a lot of natural materials and treasures. However, the Ant King's strength at this time is considered very strong in the ninja world. Seeing that the Ant King had recovered a lot, Qixing immediately said, "Ant King, there is a task for you now. If you complete it well, you can come to me if you need to make a breakthrough again after you come back." Hearing this, the Ant King shouted excitedly, "Thank you, boss. Boss, tell me what you want. I, Meruem, will definitely fulfill the boss's instructions." At this moment, the Ant King obviously looks like ABCH. Qixing said, "This task is very simple for you. My clone will take you to Rain Shinobi Village and bring the dying Jiraiya to Tianshuman. All actions this time will be subject to the clone's arrangements. Do you understand?" "I understand, boss." As Qixing made a seal with his hands, there was a bang, and a person who looked exactly like Qixing appeared next to him. This is the super clone of Qixing. Although it is made of condensed energy, it can move for a long time. It's just that the farther the distance, the greater the consumption. Take this fairy bean. Jiraiya will need it. Go, waiting for your good news. Yes, boss. At this moment, the Ant King was in an excited mood and followed the clone of Nanixing as he hurried to Rain Shinobi Village. Qixing, on the other hand, turned around and walked quickly in the other direction. I guess my 2 idiot brothers will have started fighting by the time we get there. Sigh. It's really not a worry. I hope both missions can be successful. Finish. Time passed by, and a few hours later, 2 guys, dressed casually, with nothing to hide, looking like ordinary people, walked into Rain Shinobi Village. The 2 are the clones of Ant King and Qixing. As soon as he entered the door, he heard the vendors around him whispering about angels, gods, and battles. Advertisement. The Ant King said strangely, "Sir, didn't you say Rain Shinobi Village has been raining lightly all year round? Why is it sunny today?" This is not simple, because the battle was so fierce that the clouds in the sky were scattered. Let's go and do business. Okay, sir. As they were talking, the 2 figures suddenly disappeared on the street as they walked, and no one discovered it. When the 2 figures appeared again, they had arrived at the tallest building in the entire Rain Shinobi Village. "Sir, aren't we going to find the target person and take him away? I can activate echolocation and quickly determine the target location." "No need, look below." As he spoke, the Ant King looked down. As far as the eye could see, there was an explosion from a high-rise building. The wall was smashed by something, and smoke and dust filled the air in the explosion. Suddenly, a red and black figure flew out of the smoke and fell into the lake, sliding for 100 meters before stopping. I saw that this man's left arm had been broken, and blood kept dripping to the water surface, quickly blending into the water, and the gray-red clothes on his body were also stained with blood. She has long, flowing white hair that reaches her waist, and her face is painted in a weird way. What's even more strange is that there is a male toad on the left shoulder and a female toad on the right shoulder. The Ant King turned his head and asked strangely, "Sir, what kind of look is this? It's quite unique." "Oh, you don't know this guy, it's not surprising, he is Jiraiya. Our target this time. His current state is called Sage Mode. Those two toads are guys who absorb natural energy and practice in Mount Myoboku. One is Fukasaku and the other is Shima. However, their qualifications are very poor. They have not broken through to 6 in hundreds of years, PADS level. There are two conditions for a mortal to turn on Sage Mode. 1. Partial animalization of the body. 2. You need to sign a contract with the toads who practice Mount Myoboku, and use their natural energy to activate Sage Mode. Because ordinary people simply cannot absorb natural energy. As soon as the clone finished speaking, the smoke cleared, and 6 Pain with Rinnegan appeared below. As soon as Pain's 6 paths appeared, his 5 senses were very sharp, and he immediately noticed the clone and the Ant King 8,000 meters away, but no one in Pain's 6 paths acted rashly. After all, the other party didn't come to rescue Jiraiya, so there was no need to fight with the other party now. After all, there are 3 Super Cage level guys in front of us, who need to be dealt with at once. Simply, the evil Kido was separated and focused on the Ant King, and the other 5 people appeared in front of Jiraiya. At this time, Jiraiya was extremely weak, and being shocked again and again had broken through the defenses in his heart. It made him a little unable to react. At this time, Pain looked at the lingering Jiraiya in front of him, and then looked at the 2 figures on the top of the tower. He seemed to be explaining but also shocked, and said, "Pain is what the 6 of us are called. We are called Pain's 6 paths. The animal realm, the hell realm, the Shira realm, the heavenly realm, the human realm, and the evil Kido." After hearing Pain's words, Jiraiya discovered that one of the 6 of them looked like his disciple, Yahiko. But why they all have Nagado's Rinnegan puzzles Jiraiya. At this moment, Jilai seemed to have some realization, but want to get more information. He shouted loudly and asked, "Who are you?" Then 6 paths Pain's figure, Chi-Chi Kaido, Van Evanedig, supporting film, Kamita, We are Pain, is God. After hearing this, the Ant King said disdainfully, "My lord, that guy actually claims to be a god. I'm afraid he has never been severely beaten by society. How about I teach him a lesson?" "No, we just need to ensure that Jiraiya is still breathing, and let them think that Jiraiya is dead. This is also part of the plan." Chapter 153 Rescue the Dying Jiraiya. After saying this, 6 paths Pain was seen below, all attacking the weak Jiraiya. After Jiraiya blocked 3 attacks, he launched his taijutsu and punched directly at Tendo Pain. But he was easily grabbed by Tiandao Pain and thrown out. Shira Dao raised his right hand and aimed at Jiraiya, who was thrown away, firing 7 rounds in a row. Jiraiya could only keep dodging. The 2 toads on his shoulders both advised Jiraiya to give up the operation. However, how could Jiraiya, who was deeply influenced by Konoha education, listen to this? Jiraiya became stubborn at this moment. "I must find Pain's secret, even if it costs my life." But it was impossible for Tendo Pain to give Jiraiya time to react, and he only saw his right hand raise. The boulder behind Jiraiya shattered, sinking Jiraiya directly to the bottom of the lake. This is also in line with Jiraiya's plan. As soon as Jiraiya entered the water, he immediately formed a seal with his hands, water style, water without technique. At this moment, Jiraiya's figure turned into a part of the lake. Even Tiandao Pain was unable to find traces of Jiraiya in a short period of time. The next second, 2 toad tongues stuck out of the water, entangled the animal's legs, and dragged it into the barrier on the toad's stomach wall that he had set up long ago. The breath also disappeared again. The 5 pens on the water did not move rashly, because the 2 people on the top of the tower were looking at themselves at this moment. Under the auspicious weapon, Tiandao Pain did not have the ability to use Rinnegan immediately. After Jiraiya pulled the animal path into the barrier, a Rasengan hit the animal path directly in the abdomen, blasting it into the toad's gastric juice. However, as soon as Jiraiya took a few breaths after landing, the beast's path emerged from the stomach juice of the toad. He raised his hand and threw out a long black stick, which directly pierced Jiraiya's right arm and passed through his right shoulder. However, the beast said that this attack was just a dying struggle, and the toad's gastric juice had already corroded his body with holes. But it was this last struggle that made Jiraiya's injuries worse again. At this moment, Jiraiya collapsed on the ground, a mouthful of old blood spurted out for several meters, and then he used his right hand to break the black rod. Suddenly he felt that the chakra in his body became turbulent. Fukasaku knew at a glance that it must be the black rod, and he immediately pulled out the black rod from Jiraiya's body. At the same time as he threw it, he just knocked off the forehead protector of the animal path. There was a scar that Jiraiya was very familiar with on this guy's brow. This guy was a ninja he had killed. Why did he become Pain? Then Jiraiya seemed to understand something. He decided to go find those guys again. Confirm your suspicions. But if Jiraiya goes out at this time, there will be no chance of escape. Pain will not allow someone to disappear in front of him twice. But despite being persuaded by 2 toads, Jiraiya was not going to change his mind. He knew that although he might be killed if he went out now, he had to take the risk in order to find out Pain's secret. At this moment, the 2 clans discussed each other for a while. Shima took the body of the beast in front of him to Konoha, and he and Fukasaku directly surfaced. As soon as he appeared, Jiraiya looked at Wudao Pain. As he had guessed, these guys were all people he had seen or killed before. At this time, he finally figured out Pain's identity. It turned out that they were all puppets controlled by others, and the person who controlled them, Jiraiya, already knew who he was. Advertisement. But just as Jiraiya was about to spread the news, Shira Dao rushed out of the water and grabbed Jiraiya's neck. A mouthful of old blood spurted out again, and Tendo Pain also took action at the same time. He fell from the air and kicked Jiraiya out of the lake. Then several pains pressed Jiraiya to the ground and rubbed him. In the end, in order to prevent Jiraiya from spreading the information, 5 iron rods were inserted directly into his back. At this moment, Jiraiya has not forgotten his purpose this time, and wants to tell Fukasaku on his left shoulder Pain's identity, but his throat has been crushed by Shira Dao and he cannot make a sound. Soon after, Jiraiya's consciousness began to fade away little by little. He was unwilling to die like this. Obviously, I am still close to passing Pain's secret back to Konoha. Then he raised his right hand in the eyes of the 5 Pains. After a look, Fukasaku jumped off Jiraiya's back. Although he wrote a code on Fukasaku's back, how could the 5 Pains let Fukasaku escape? The 5 people used their abilities at the same time, and 5 brilliant rays of light flew towards Jiraiya and Fukasaku. At the critical moment, a burly green-skinned figure stood in front of Jiraiya. The 5 brilliant attacks did not cause any harm to him. The 5 Pens did not choose to continue the attack. The 5 people gathered together again and looked at the strange-looking guy in front of them. He couldn't help but frown and said, "You are from Konoha." When the Ant King heard this, he didn't answer. He just looked up at the sky. The clone of Qixing slowly fell on the Ant King's shoulder. He smiled and said, "Konoha, they're worthy." "Okay, Pain. Jiraiya is no longer alive. After all, he is your teacher. Leave his body intact. As for his body, I will take it away." I waved my hand and put Jiraiya into the universal capsule. But how could Pain be so easy to talk to? 5 Pain stood around him. Tiandao Pain was in the middle, and the other 4 people formed seals at the same time, boundary in all directions. Seal. A transparent barrier centered on Tiandao Pain quickly spread to 1,000 meters. At this moment, everyone is trapped in the barrier, just as the 5 Pens were preparing to take action. The Ant King just chuckled disdainfully. 6 people working together can only reach the strength of the middle stage of 6 paths. If you, Tiandao Pain, are the only one, you can only reach the early stage of 6 paths. Who gave you the courage to stop me? The way for adults. Court death. As he spoke, the Ant King's figure soared 3 meters and he went violently. He didn't want to give his opponent any time to react. At this moment, the Ant King, who was covered in blood, had red light all over his right leg, and then he stomped towards the ground. Everyone saw a wave of terrifying blood ripples spread throughout the entire barrier instantly. Wherever the ripples passed, sand and rocks flew, and strong winds rose. When the ripples hit the barrier, there was a bang, like a small hydrogen bomb exploding, and the entire Rain Shinobi village fell into panic. Many villagers knelt down and prayed for the angel to come. There were still some who were curious about what was going on, and rushed towards the location of the explosion. Tendo Pain, seeing such terrifying power exploding in the 4-sided barrier, was shocked and broke into a cold sweat. If this guy's explosion is allowed to break through the barrier, Rain Shinobi village will probably be destroyed in an instant. Destroyed. But Tiandao Pain's idea will soon be realized. The barrier has begun to be filled with cracks. I'm afraid it won't take 3 breaths before the barrier will be broken. The 5 Pens could only withstand the aftermath of the explosion and withdrew their defenses. The 5 figures quickly closed together, 10 pairs of palms intertwined, and circles of energy spread in the Rinnegan. All Pain sent his power into Kito's body. Hungry Kito stretched his hands forward and used the sealing technique to absorb the seal. He saw the terrifying red light in the barrier and the aftermath of the explosion, all rushing towards Hungry Kito. Chapter 154 The Battle of the Brothers. At the moment when the power of the explosion was about to break the barrier, the terrifying energy was directly absorbed by Kito. The Ant King was shocked when he saw this. He didn't expect that his strongest attack would be directly absorbed in an instant. Although the decline in my strength has a little impact, this guy really has some skills. HMPH. Sealing technique absorption seal. Let me see if you can absorb my physical technique. Speaking of the Ant King, blood burst out all over his body, and the red blood light all over his body turned dark red. The advanced talent ability of the Magic Light Ant, Violent Blood Rage, was activated. Waves of dark red ripples spread out to a radius of 10,000 meters with the Ant King as the center. Qixing was shocked when he saw this. This guy has actually understood the rudimentary form of the domain. He is truly blessed with unique abilities. But just when the Ant King was about to attack Pain, the 7-star clone on his shoulder interrupted the Ant King and said, "Alright King Ant, let's stop making trouble now that the mission is accomplished. Pain's 6 paths still have their mission, and now is not the time for them to be injured or dead. Let's go." "But my lord, okay, I know you have been locked up for too long and you want to stretch your muscles. Don't worry, there will be more interesting battles waiting for you in a few days." After hearing this, the Ant King gave up the idea of attacking and cancelled the violent blood state. He looked back at Pain without saying a word. At the moment when his legs kicked the ground, he rushed sideways and collided towards the barrier. With a bang, the cracked 4-sided barrier was shattered, and the figure of the Ant King had also disappeared. At this moment, the 5 Pains breathed a sigh of relief, and Tiandao Pain murmured, "That guy who looks like an ant puts too much pressure on me. That is at least a guy who has reached the pinnacle of this realm. His ability even gave me the feeling of facing death." But in the ninja world, there are many such hidden strong men, but there should be none who can take action. After all, there are things above us watching. We don't have to worry about these. But the person standing on that guy's shoulder seems to be Uchiha Qixing from Tianshumen, but it seems that only one clone came. Since he is Itachi's brother, let Itachi go and talk to him. Look at their days, what exactly does Shumen want to do? But what the Pens don't know is that Itachi's time is running out at this moment. He is terminally ill and will lose his life after this battle with Sasuke. And on the other side, the body of 7 stars has passed through countless spaces and arrived above a forest. Instantly, the perception is fully activated, and everything within a radius of 10 kilometers is within his own perception. The pervert of this ability of super distance detection is that Qixing's vision can clearly capture what he wants to see within 10 kilometers, everything. He scanned the forest and said, I didn't expect there to be 3 battlefields here. One is the battlefield between Onito Suigetsu and Hokage Kisame. Their famous swords, Samahata and the decapitating sword, are constantly colliding. Another place is Naruto and his party, following Sasuke's steps but being stopped by a Fei. This guy relied on the time and space ninjutsu to make Naruto and the others miserable, unable to break through his defense. Qixing's 2 silly brothers also met at the agreed place. Qixing's eyes only stayed on other battlefields for a few seconds, then he ran with all his strength and came to the sky above the battlefield of his brothers. Advertisement Qixing hid his figure and had no intention of going down to stop the 2 men from fighting. After all, everyone's growth path cannot be copied. Then his eyes penetrated the soil and saw that in the abandoned palace underground, Itachi was playing wildly in front of Sasuke, saying that his power now finally has a chance to surpass Madara, but only if he gets Sasuke's eyes. Let your eyes evolve into the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. He is obviously an older brother who would sacrifice his life for his younger brother, and is obviously a super Brokan, but the love Itachi gives is very extreme and very subtle. All he did was to draw out Orochimaru's soul from Sasuke's body and seal it to prevent Orochimaru from taking advantage of Sasuke. But Sasuke, who loves him at this moment, cannot understand Itachi at all. The 2 of them didn't talk much at this moment, but Itachi, who was sitting on the high platform, came to Sasuke's side in an instant, and both sides shot at the same time. The 2 kunai collided, sparks flew, and their bodies collided rapidly several times, have separated and returned to the origin. But Itachi is obviously slightly better. Sasuke sees no advantage and uses it immediately. Chidori, earth explosion. Rows of lightning streaked across the ground chasing Itachi. Itachi jumped up to avoid it, but Sasuke had already reached the roof and pierced Itachi's body with his knife. But how could Itachi die so easily? Itachi, whose body was pierced, stretched out his finger and pointed at the stone bench just now. Itachi's true form was sitting peacefully on the stone bench. It seemed like it had never moved. It was obvious that Sasuke was under Itachi's genjutsu from the moment he came in. But Sasuke's current strength has reached cage level, and Sharingan has reached the limit of 3 Magatama. All it takes is an opportunity to break through and become Mangekyo Sharingan. What Itachi didn't expect was that the Sasuke at this moment was also a clone, and his real body actually appeared behind the stone bench, and was pierced through the stone bench and Itachi with a knife. Just when Sasuke thought Itachi was going to die, Itachi turned into a crow and disappeared again. The 2 brothers also started a duel between illusion and physical skills at this moment. The shurikens of both sides clashed like Gatling guns, and countless sparks flew into the air. Countless shurikens flew from all directions, and it was impossible to tell the real ones from the fake ones, let alone which ones were made by genjutsu. Neither of them dared to gamble, and both tried their best to avoid them. But Itachi's combat experience was obviously more abundant. He didn't know when he separated into a clone, and the clone flew up, and 3 sharp kunai shot out from his hand. When Sasuke saw this, a small white snake suddenly appeared behind him and wrapped itself around him. It wasn't over yet. The white snake suddenly turned into a wind demon shuriken. Sasuke threw it decisively towards Itachi. Itachi blocked it with a kunai, but the wind demon shuriken was filled with a large amount of thunder attribute chakra. Itachi's clone directly after being killed, he turned into a crow and disappeared. But Itachi's true form finally took action, and as the Mangekyo Sharingan turned, Itachi's body rushed directly to Sasuke's side. Kicked Sasuke to the wall. Sasuke still wanted to gather chakra, but Itachi pinned him to the wall with a flash. At this moment, Itachi stretched out 2 fingers and plucked out Sasuke's eyes. With a roar of pain, Sasuke's eyes were actually plucked out by Itachi. Just when Itachi was about to attack Sasuke's other eye, Sasuke activated the Curse Seal 3 state. The energy in his body surged, and the powerful energy locked Itachi. The 2 white snakes in his body soared into the sky. At this moment, Itachi's strongest genjutsu, Tsukuyomi, was actually broken by the white snakes that rushed out from behind Sasuke. As soon as the genjutsu Tsukuyomi disappeared, Suke was still standing intact, and the 2 of them didn't move a step from the moment their bodies were picked up from Sasuke. Black-White Zetsu, who was hiding in the corner watching the show, looked at Sasuke with an incredible look. What was hidden in this guy's body that could break Itachi's strongest illusion, Tsukuyomi? Chapter 155. Orochimaru was led out. However, Itachi suffered backlash at this moment and knelt down on one knee, holding back a mouthful of blood without spitting out. The strongest illusion was broken, which made the seriously ill body even worse, but the mental trauma was the most difficult to recover from. Itachi frowned at this moment. He and White Zetsu had the same question, how could 3 Tomo Sharingan be stronger than Mangekyo Sharingan? And it was cracked so easily. Then Itachi thought of something and became convinced. This must be the Orochimaru in Sasuke's body. That guy finally showed his snake legs. At this moment, Itachi wanted to take advantage of the victory and quickly formed seals with his hands, but how could Sasuke give Itachi a chance to breathe? Sasuke threw the Fuma Shuriken in his hand. Itachi flew to avoid it, but there was a Tsunade invisible to the naked eye on the Fuma Shuriken. Sasuke used his hands hard, and Fuma's shuriken flew back from behind Itachi again. Unable to dodge, Itachi was finally stabbed in the left leg by a shuriken this time. Seeing this scene, Black-White Zetsu was shocked. This is such an obvious shadow shuriken, Itachi can't avoid it, who would believe it? But he didn't understand Itachi's thoughts, so he could only watch intently again. When Sasuke saw Itachi slowing down, he knew it was Itachi. The genjutsu in his eyes was broken and had side effects. At this moment, his hands formed a seal again, fire-style great fireball technique, and flew towards Itachi. Seeing this, Itachi could only choose to avoid it. However, Sasuke had already spotted Itachi and was unable to use his power in the air. Lightning style, Chidori struck directly at Itachi at close range. Itachi knew he could not dodge, and partially manifested Susanoo to block the attack. But how could the fragile roof withstand such devastation from the two of them? After a burst of smoke and dust from the explosion, the two of them came to the roof one after another. The moment Itachi exited the smoke, he also used fire-style great fireball and crashed into the smoke. Sasuke in the smoke activated Curse Seal 2, and 2 flesh wings suddenly grew out of his back, blocking the fireball for Sasuke. Now the two of them were standing on the roof, looking at each other for a few seconds, and then activated the fire-style great fireball at the same time. 2 fireballs of more than 10 meters collided, but Sasuke's fireball gradually gained the upper hand. Seeing this, Itachi opened his bleeding right eye and released Amaterasu. A large amount of black flames appeared and directly hit Sasuke. The great fireball was overwhelmed, and even rushed towards Sasuke without losing its momentum. Sasuke knew the power of this black fire and could only run as fast as he could, because Amaterasu's big black fire would burn any object it caught, otherwise the flame would not go out. After Sasuke ran away, his flesh wings were still ignited by the black fire. At this moment, Sasuke could only lie on the ground and Jonin suffered from the pain of the flames. But where no one could see, Sasuke used Reikiri to cut a hole in the roof beneath him, and then used Orochimaru's body replacement technique to directly separate the body from its original body. Itachi thought that Sasuke was dying from the flames, so he simply stopped Amaterasu, but releasing Amaterasu this time also aggravated the injuries to his eyes and body again, causing excessive use of his eyes, and a mouthful of old blood spurted out for several meters again. After a few seconds, Itachi stood up firmly and walked forward to check on Sasuke, but Sasuke had been waiting underground for this opportunity. Sure enough, the moment Itachi bent down to check, Sasuke formed a seal with his hands, fire style. The dragon fire technique was activated, and 4 fireballs in the shape of dragon heads broke through the roof and hit Itachi. Itachi sensed the danger and jumped away in an instant, moving left and right on the roof, and the roof has been blasted with 4 big holes by Sasuke's dragon fire. And Sasuke also fell to his knees because of the ninjutsu he just performed, which made him exhausted. At this moment, the two brothers' eyes met again. Itachi said, "Sasuke, is this all you can do?" Sasuke spoke slowly, "I will not come without preparation to kill you. You will die here, so I will show you my most powerful ability." As soon as Sasuke finished speaking, the 4 fire dragons that had just flown into the sky had already reached the clouds and were right next to Qixing. Qixing has already felt the purpose of this fire dragon. Advertisement. Yes, this is the ability that Qixing taught Sasuke a few years ago, lightning style, heavenly thunder Kirin. Qixing found lightning and thunder around him. The flames had burned the surrounding clouds, causing the airflow in the atmosphere to rise continuously, forming a huge thundercloud. Countless thunderlights were entangled in the cloud. Qixing could only use Kamui to hide in a different space. The moment Sasuke saw the thunder and lightning, he derived Reikiri from his hands, pulling the thunder and lightning from the sky, and then shouted, "Lightning style, Sky Thunder Kirin." After a few seconds of condensation, people within a few kilometers of the door only heard a strange beast roar. At this moment, a blue unicorn emerged from the thunder in the sky. It was guided by Sasuke's Chidori, and accompanied by Sasuke's right-hand wave. At the same moment, Kilin fell from the sky and rushed towards Weasel. Immediately afterwards there was a strong explosion. This powerful force of nature caused the ground with a radius of 1 kilometer to be scorched black by electricity, and the houses underfoot collapsed into pieces. And Itachi was already lying on the ground, not knowing whether to live or die. Just when Sasuke thought it was all over, Itachi's voice suddenly sounded again, "Is this how you want to see me die?" Sasuke looked up and saw Itachi getting up from the ground. At this time, Itachi's whole body was exuding red flames, and a red skeleton appeared in the flames. This is the divine power of the Uchiha clan, Susan Gundam appears. Just now Itachi relied on this move to block Sasuke's Kirin. Itachi said that next he would show Sasuke his last trump card, Susanoo. The fun begins now. At this moment, Sasuke was dumbfounded. He was so old, how could he know that the Uchiha clan had the pervert ability to drive a Gundam? At this time, Itachi's Gundam began to evolve, countless energies gathered again, and soon the skeleton was put on a suit of armor. And Sasuke panicked. Now that his chakra has been exhausted, is it true that he can't take revenge this time and can only die here? Just when Sasuke was desperate, the Orochimaru soul in his body began to seduce Sasuke and said, "Sasuke, please lend me my power to you. Don't you need revenge? Come and release my power." Then several large white snakes rushed out of Sasuke's body. This is none other than Orochimaru's Yamata no Orochi technique. When Qixing saw this technique, he couldn't help but think of the White Snake Sage and the 9 Shi Orochi. Obviously, Orochimaru learned this technique from White Phosphorus, and White Phosphorus knows how to use Yamata no Orochi technique, so it must be related to Kuchi no Orochi. I should have thought of it earlier. However, the battle below had already begun, and the Yamata no Orochi flew towards Itachi. Seeing the Yamata no Orochi, Itachi finally breathed a sigh of relief. He was afraid that he would not be able to help Sasuke seal Orochimaru before he died, and would lead to Orochimaru. The Yamata no Orochi was Itachi's original intention for this battle. Itachi was heartbroken because of Sasuke, his younger brother. When Itachi saw that his goal was achieved this time, he didn't waste any time. He held the Shichuan sword in his hand and made it as hard as Yamata no Orochi. But Yamata no Orochi is just Orochimaru's parasitic technique. Against Susanoo, who has surpassed cage level at this moment, he is no match. In just a few breaths, 7 of the 8 heads have been chopped off by Itachi. At this moment, the soul of Orochimaru hiding in the last head was slowly spit out. As soon as he appeared, Orochimaru was inexplicably excited. "I have been waiting for such an opportunity, waiting for Sasuke to be weak. Thank you, Itachi. If it weren't for you, I would have been suppressed by Sasuke's chakra, ha ha ha." Chapter 156. Izumi and Itachi finally meet, but Itachi didn't want to hear Uncle Snake beeping at all. He swung his 10-fist sword and pierced Orochimaru's body. Orochimaru smiled crookedly. How could such an attack hurt me? But the next moment Orochimaru was confused. The soul is constantly being absorbed by the sword. No matter how hard Orochimaru tried to stop him, he was unable to revolving heaven. Seeing the Nanahoshi here, I silently mourned for Orochimaru for a second in my heart. Because he knew that the divine weapon 10-fist sword in Itachi's hand was a super powerful sealing sword. The person who was stabbed would be sealed in the illusion space carried by the sword and would never be able to come out on their own. Orochimaru was also unlucky. He just came out to show off, but within a minute, he was completely sealed by Itachi. However, where few people were paying attention, a small white snake took advantage of the chaos to escape. When Itachi's seal ended, he spit out a mouthful of old blood again and fell to the ground. Then Sasanya behind him began to collapse, leaving only half a skeleton. Sasuke saw an opportunity and was ready to kill you while you were sick. He took out a detonating talisman from his backpack and threw it at Itachi. Itachi used his localized Susanoo to block the ordinary explosion. Then Itachi slowly dragged his body towards Sasuke. Sasuke became anxious and threw a large number of detonating talismans again. However, when Itachi's skeleton Susan raised the 8-foot mirror, this ordinary explosion could not cause any damage to it. This is another artifact as famous as the 10-fist sword. This 8-foot mirror has the ability to deflect all attacks. The current Itachi can be said to be both offensive and defensive. It can be called invincible. Sasuke looked at Itachi, who was walking towards him. A group of people panicked in their hearts, so they pulled out their long swords and rushed forward. Naturally, the result was that he was ejected hundreds of meters by the 8-foot mirror. He hit a broken wall and died. Not long after, Itachi walked up to Sasuke, then raised his hand, and seemed to say something to Sasuke. After saying that, Itachi smiled. Obviously, he recognized this younger brother's strength. Then under Sasuke's horrified gaze, Itachi reached out and tapped Sasuke's forehead. Then his hand crossed Sasuke's cheek, and he fell against the stone wall, falling in front of Sasuke. At this moment, Itachi looked particularly lonely, as if he was really dead. And no one watching this battle would believe that someone as strong as Uchiha Itachi could die in this way. They were all lost in thought. But this moment is the best time Qixing has been waiting for. I saw the 7 stars in the sky stretching their hands forward, and the strange handprints kept changing. The body entered a stealth state and landed on the battlefield between Sasuke and Itachi below. Slowly approached the two of them. Zhu Ling sent generals to launch. Itachi was supposed to be dead, but his soul was forced back half a foot after leaving his body. He could no longer leave his body and go to the Pure Land. Itachi was confused at this moment. Am I alive again? Just when Itachi was full of questions, a strange space fluctuation appeared under Itachi. In an instant, the 7 stars appeared, and Sasuke's eyes widened. A man who looked 79 similar to Itachi appeared in front of him. This person is the senior who taught him the heavenly thunder Kilin. The man's mouth was slightly open, but he didn't make any sound. But Sasuke knows the meaning. Work hard to become stronger. I will always pay attention to you. Then the man carried Itachi's body and fell into the dark Uzumaki. At this moment, no one who was paying attention to the battle noticed that someone had come and took away Itachi's body. Only Sasuke saw the familiar yet unfamiliar face, staring at everything in front of him blankly. A Fae, who was watching the battle from a distance, felt a space fluctuation in front of him, which quickly disappeared without a trace. He just thought it was his illusion. Advertisement. At this moment, light rain began to fall on the battlefield, but the terrifying black flames could not be extinguished by the rain, and had even burned the surrounding area. Itachi's body was still lying next to Sasuke. Of course, this corpse is just a substitute for Qixing. This also made people completely think that Itachi was dead. On the other side, Qixing passed through the black hole and brought the dying Itachi to the Tianji Tower. This was also Itachi's second time entering the interior of this strange tall building, but at the moment he had no intention of feeling the magic of this tall building. Itachi is now half dead. It was Qixing who forcibly used the spirit restraint method to prevent his soul from leaving the body. He forced Itachi to take a breath. As soon as he entered the Tianji building, the system began to frantically prompt the progress of the task. Even the clone and the Ant King returned to the 7 stars did not leave their rooms. At this time, Qixing looked at Itachi in front of him and murmured in his mouth, "Quan has worked here for 10 years for you. Since I promised Quan to let you get together, how can I break my promise as a brother?" As he spoke, Qixing took out a pill that had been stored for a long time, called the Revolving Heaven Pill. As long as you still have half a breath and all 3 souls and 7 souls are present, no matter how serious the injury is, you can recover in a short time. Looking at the elixir, Qixing fed it into Itachi's mouth without hesitation. Then a fairy bean provided tons of energy. It also entered Itachi's mouth. Qixing continued to use chi to help the medicine travel throughout the body. If there were any outsiders here, they would definitely think that the 7 stars were as good as Long Yang, because at this moment, the 7 stars began to wander from Itachi's face. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, the time was spent in this weird atmosphere. Finally Nanahoshi's big hand touched Itachi's souls from the beginning. Itachi also coughed lightly at this moment and opened his eyes. When Itachi opened his eyes, he saw Qixing stroking the soles of his feet. Itachi instinctively wanted to take his feet back, but at this moment, the sequelae caused by the soul's separation from the body had not disappeared, and he could not control his body at all. He just opened his mouth and said, "Where am I? Am I not already dead?" Qixing chuckled, while Mangekyo's eyes kept spinning, and distinguished heavenly gods opened again. "Yes, you are indeed dead. Now the entire ninja world thinks you are dead. So from today on, you are no longer the light protecting Konoha, and you can no longer participate in anything in Konoha. From the moment you wake up, you officially enter Tianshumen, and the only thing you need to protect is Tianshumen." After saying this, Qixing closed his eyes and used distinguished heavenly gods on Itachi, which was a helpless move. Although he was a biological brother, this guy's stubborn temper was basically unchangeable. At this moment, Itachi was slowly affected by the distinguished heavenly gods, but he still asked his doubts. "I remember that you were sent away by your father because you couldn't sense chakra, but why are you so strong now?" "No need to ask, you will naturally know when your strength is reached. The water in this ninja world is very deep." "Okay, now that you're awake, let Quan take care of you." "Come in Quan, you've been waiting for a long time. I didn't expect you to be so familiar with Xiaokabi, and the machine even told you that I brought people back." "Brother Qixing, I am. It doesn't matter, haven't you been waiting for this moment for so long?" Then Itachi will be left to you. Although his injuries will recover within 24 hours, the damage to his eyes and spirit cannot be repaired by medicine alone. As for the eyes, just find a pair of Sharingan with myriad flowers eyes. I need you to soothe the mental trauma. Hearing this, Izumi blushed instantly. Although she was untouched, the little girl understood what comforting meant in front of the rough man in Konoha. When Quan looked back, Qixing had already walked out of the room. At this moment, only Itachi and Izumi were left in the room. Chapter 157. Going to Tianshumen. The two of them were in the same room together. Although they hadn't seen each other for nearly 10 years, they were not too distant. At this moment, their eyes were facing each other, and the two of them were silent in tacit understanding, and the atmosphere was slightly awkward. Of course, some people will have random thoughts at this moment. After all, they are alone and their love is hard to express. But at this moment, Itachi's kidneys were weak after all, so he couldn't expect a girl to take the initiative to do something. Finally Itachi said, "Long time no see, Izumi." Hearing this, Quan wiped the tears from his eyes. "Yes Itachi, long time no see. You are finally home. You are tired. Then have a good rest. I will take care of you from now on, okay?" Hearing Quan's gentle words, Itachi didn't reply, but just closed his eyes, and tears rolled down his cheeks unsatisfactorily. After all, he tacitly approved of killing all the clan members and even Quan at that time. But Quan didn't know what Itachi was thinking. He just stretched out his hand to wipe away Itachi's tears and quietly watched Itachi fall asleep. Qixing, who walked out of the room, saw Chi as soon as he opened the door, and little Didi with only his soul left. Stand on the left side of the door, while the clone and the Ant King stand on the right. The four of them actually returned to Tianji Tower at the same time. When the clone saw Qixing coming out, it immediately turned into a stream of light and penetrated into Qixing's body. Nanahoshi also received information from Rain Shinobi Village at the same time. The Ant King looked at Qixing expectantly, as if waiting for the reward of 7 stars. Qixing was not stingy and threw a show token to the Ant King. "When you get to Tiansho Gate, find Long Xuanji. He will arrange everything. Now go to the 3rd floor and wait for me." Putting away the token, the Ant King stepped aside in inexplicable excitement. "Thank you sir." Qixing looked at Chi and Xiao Didi. "What are you two guys doing sneaking around at the door?" Chi said with a sly smile, "Of course I'm waiting for you to come out, and I also want to watch an erotic show." Hearing this, Qixing's face darkened. "What do you think about every day, kid? Improve your strength for me. Itachi's soul and body are separated, and he needs time to rest, and his body has not recovered yet. There is no erotic drama, don't disturb them, let's go bar. With that said, several people left happily. Qixing looked at the soul next to Chi and asked, why did you leave him behind? Chi already had his own thoughts, and of course he would not be stupid enough to say that he needed to train little Didi to become stronger, and then become one of the bargaining chips to break away from the main body. He was just smiling, hey, it's of great use, you'll know later. Oh, it's quite mysterious. If I want to know, it only takes a moment, but I'm not interested in your affairs. You can make trouble on your own. As long as your strength does not fall, the rest is up to you. Why do you want me to increase my strength quickly? As soon as he finished speaking, Qixing stopped moving forward, looked back at Qi behind him, and said, are you sure you want to know? Hearing Qixing's cold tone, Qi shrank her neck and said with a smile, no need. There are some things you can know, but the price you can't bear. Then he threw out a soul-nourishing pill. Your partner needs this. After taking this pill, he can walk freely in the ninja world. But when you meet a guy with strong mental strength, you will be lucky. Okay, go wait for me on the 3rd floor. Looking at the elixir, Qi threw it to little Didi. The two of them walked up to the 3rd floor of Tianji Tower together. But no one noticed the moment Qi walked up to the door upstairs, looked at the celestial disc behind her, and a strange smile emerged from the corner of her mouth. After everyone left, Qixing had time to check the system prompts. Ding! Congratulations to host, you conquered the Ant King, and you will be rewarded with 20,000 points. Close black lens bracket. Advertisement, ding. The avatar participates in a big event, the end of Jiraiya, and is rewarded with 20,000 points. Ding. Participate in the big event, the guardian of Uchiha Itachi, and get 20,000 reward points. Ding. Congratulations on reaching 146,200 host points. Close black lens bracket. Looking at the points getting closer and closer, Qixing is full of confidence. There is still less than 60,000 to unlock the system mall. And there is another big task at hand, fighting against Tiandao Pain. I am confident that I can win the battle and get 30,000 points. Come on, you will soon be able to see this shopping mall with thousands of realms. System. I have had several draws. Open black lens bracket ding. Number of luxury draws, none. Number of high quality guards, 10 times, full, the number of ordinary draws, 20 full times will be doubled after the system is upgraded. Close black lens bracket. All draws, after all, I don't expect anything good to come out. Ding. Congratulations to host, you got 1 stunt card, 1 ninjutsu dimensional slash, 10 spirit gathering pills, 1 ascension dragon pill, 1 ninja technique revolving heaven, 1 bucket of military food pills, and compressed biscuits 1 box. Tianji building subfloor card 2, ninja tool advanced card 2. Seeing these items, Qixing felt inexplicably that many of them were useful for now. I casually took out the stunt skill card, and saw that there was only 1 master level water channel dredger in it, depend on. Seeing this, Qixing immediately threw the card to the ground. I'm going to unblock your sister's stunt card. After calming down, he looked at the spirit gathering pill. These 10 pills were all pills that could accelerate improvement and even absorb the power of nature. In this way, even ordinary ninjas have the opportunity to activate Sage Mode. This is really good news for the boys from Tianshumen. Then he took out the Shunlong pill, which was even more pervert and could instantly elevate him to a higher realm, but it was limited to being usable only below the super cage level. Moreover, this pill has no side effects, it just takes a little longer to fully absorb the potency. Normally it takes at least an hour, but even so, if other people in the ninja world know about it, they will definitely fight for it. The Tianji building subfloor card in his hand was the most unexpected existence for Qixing. How should I describe this thing? You don't need to read the introduction of 7 stars to know its purpose. But when he really looked at the card, Qixing was stunned. This sub-building can be connected with the main building. This caught Qixing off guard. At this moment, Qixing was thinking about what would happen if all the 5 major countries established separate buildings. Thinking of the excitement, Qixing looked at the final realm card. This thing didn't have any very eye-catching abilities. The advancement of a ninja tool is not an advancement of a divine weapon. In other words, only ninja tools with 6 paths and below can be used. For 7 stars, this thing is a free gift. After taking a look at the items in this lottery, Qixing is even more looking forward to the system and the upcoming Wanji Mall. As he was thinking about it, Qixing suddenly remembered that there were still a few people waiting for him in the Tianji formation on the 3rd floor. Then he wiped the dirt from his mouth. Walk up to the 3rd floor. Without further ado, Qixing punched a mark into the largest teleportation array in the middle. Stand in it. He looked at the 3 guys next to him with a smile, looking like they had never seen the world, looking around the teleportation array and touching there. At this time, Qixing's voice came to the ears of the 3 of them. Let's go to Tiansho Gate. Chapter 158 changes in the door. After a few seconds of darkness, the 4 people suddenly saw light. The moment they opened their eyes, several people were slightly surprised. They had never heard of such a paradise in the ninja world for so long. Although Chi, Xiao Didi, and the Ant King all came to Tianshumen for the first time. But all 3 of them were shocked by the building in front of them. After all, they had never seen what kind of forces and what kind of gorgeous buildings in the ninja world. However, with the splendor of the Tiansho Gate in front of them, even if the ninja world developed peacefully for another 100 years, it would still be unstoppable. The flattering horse is not as good as Tianshuman. Of course, all this is due to Long Xuanji. That guy made this cave sky look like his previous power based on his memories from the previous life. There is nostalgia and even more hope of coming there again. When Qixing saw it, he didn't say anything special, he just nodded slightly and released the Corpse King in Kamui's space. As soon as the Corpse King appeared, a green light flashed in his eyes, and he was extremely excited. He suddenly let out a loud roar and said vaguely, "Food, delicious food. If I can eat everyone here, my strength will definitely be able to get back to the top again." But at this moment, this roar shocked the entire Tiansho sect. All the disciples and stewards put down what they were doing and walked towards the martial arts stage. When the people near the martial arts stage heard this roar, their eyes were instantly attracted. There is a shadow of death in everyone's heart, but no one retreats, they are all ready. He looked like he was willing to die generously. The Ant King and the Incarnation Chi, two guys who are not afraid of anything, are also afraid when they see the Corpse King around them. This is the suppression of the stronger one. Only little Didi stood beside Chi leisurely, motionless, as if all this had nothing to do with him. However, the two guys were also human beings. They quickly stood around Qixing. Seeing that Qixing was indifferent, the two guys breathed a sigh of relief. Long Xuanji, who was refining elixirs at the moment, was also disturbed by this roar. After a panic operation, he finally prevented the elixir in his hand from exploding. Then he called for his deputy and asked him to keep an eye on the elixir, while he swayed and left in an instant. When he appeared again, he had already arrived at Tianshuman's martial arts field. At this time, the martial arts arena was already completely surrounded by new disciples, and there were still people coming towards it one after another. But the strange thing is that within 100 meters of the Guanwu platform, no disciple came forward. Because this is a place where only all the top executives of Tianshuman can enter. Long Xuanji just showed up, glanced in the direction of Qixing, and walked up to the top of the viewing platform without looking back. There were only 3 luxurious seats here. Long Xuanji did not hesitate to sit on the third one. He sat down in his seat. No one found this scene strange, because the door owner had always sat like this. The moment all the new disciples saw Long Xuanji, they instantly fell silent. As soon as Long Xuanji sat down, a terrifying black cloud fell from the sky, landed on the second person above him, and turned into a young man with bright eyes and white teeth. This person is none other than Juki Orochi, Elder Yuan. Everyone couldn't help but be overjoyed. This time, no matter what crisis there is, with these two people here, it can basically be easily resolved. However, the keen-eyed disciples of the first generation were overjoyed when they saw Qixing's appearance. It was Elder Qixing who was back. But there are still many new disciples who have never seen the appearance of Qixing. The moment Qixing saw Long Xuanji and Dashi, he chuckled, waved his hands to wrap around the 4 guys behind him, and rose gracefully to the first seat of the martial arts viewing platform. This scene caused an uproar. After all, Tiansho sect is growing day by day, and there are countless new people. Every year new ones who pass the test are counted by the thousands. Many people don't know this handsome young man. But a few newcomers who had just returned from training abroad couldn't help but wonder, that guy looks like Uchiha Itachi from the Akatsuki organization. When you say that, I think it's similar, but something feels wrong. Advertisement. The people below were whispering, but the disciples of Tiansho sect and Shoji generation were inexplicably surprised. No one else, because Tianshuman's Dingai Shenzhen was the person in front of him, and only they, disciples of the Shoji generation, had come into contact with this senior 4 years ago. At this moment, a handsome young man who looked like a leader looked at the disciples behind him and said proudly, "You little guys, hurry up and work hard for me to grow up. You have to know that among the brothers and sisters who took the Genin exam with me 4 years ago, the worst ones have now reached the level of elite Jonin, and the top ones are only one chance away, able to step into cage level." Several disciples couldn't help but curl their lips after hearing this. "Teacher, you have said this 100 times. We have not seen a cage level senior who is good at writing." "Humph, what do you know? Guys who have reached cage level have their own tasks. If you think you have as much free time as you, just stand straight for me. Listen to what Elder Qixing said." After saying this, I heard this disciple of the Shuzi generation sigh with emotion. I didn't expect that time flies by so fast. I think Fang Nansho, is not bad in talent, but I have become the last among all the disciples of the Shuzi generation. It's really ironic. However, no matter how uproar and emotion the people below are at this moment. The moment Qixing glanced at the nearly 10,000 people below, everyone's whispers stopped abruptly because the look in his eyes was too terrifying. The quaint aura exuding from her body is too heaven-defying. At this moment Qixing used the title. Witnesses of the times, the light emanating from the 7 stars at this moment makes everyone feel like they are worshipping. It was an indescribable breath, intimidating. 7 stars sit at the top. He glanced at the big snake and said with a smile, "Not bad. In such a short period of time, you have completely adapted to the power of the immortal level, and you have also gained 4 points in the field. You have lived up to my expectations for you." Orochi smiled awkwardly, "Thanks to your cultivation, sir. That lady, by phosphorus, will also break through in the near future, I think." Speaking of this, Qixing also understood what the big snake said, threw out a mark and said, "Take him there to make sure nothing goes wrong." "Thank you, sir." Then Qixing turned to look at Long Xuanji. Xuanji, you have worked hard in the past few years while I was away. I have seen your efforts. The development of Tianshuman can be said to be like a fish in water, and it is getting stronger day by day. However, your strength is still in the middle of Super Cage level, which makes me a little bit disappointed. But as the head of Tiansho clan, you have also paid too much for Tiansho clan. Let this Shunlong pill be used as compensation. Although it will waste a small realm, I'm afraid there isn't much time left for you to become stronger. Saying that, Long Xuanji took the elixir, and without waiting for Qixing to explain the effect of the elixir, Long Xuanji just smelled it lightly and roughly understood the effect of the elixir. My lord, this is too precious. It doesn't matter, you need it more. Upgrade your strength to the early stage of 6 paths, which will be beneficial to the expansion of Tiansho Gate. Plus, Orochi and White Phosphorus are with you. I can also go to the Pure Land with confidence. Sir, you are going to the Pure Land. If you enter the Pure Land in the physical body, you will die without rebirth. I know, but time is running out. I must increase my strength again in a short period of time. The Otsutsuki clan may have noticed the changes in the ninja world. By then, the catastrophe of the ninja world may be catastrophic. Orochi and White Phosphorus alone will not be enough. Xuanji. The world of ninja is going to change soon. Let the people below develop the Tiansho sect. My lord, Xuanji will definitely live up to your expectations. Chapter 159 Tiansho clan changes its owner and the excited Amato. After saying this, Long Xuanji stood up again, looking at the nearly 10,000 disciples of Tiansho sect below and the hundreds of senior officials on the martial arts viewing platform, except for a few who have not returned from their missions, the rest are all here, and I feel proud. But when the conversation changed, Long Xuanji's words left everyone confused. Just listen to Long Xuanji say. I watched Tianshuman develop step by step. His growth is much faster than I expected. The future Tianshuman belongs to the younger generation. Many people don't know the original intention of Tianshuman's founding, which is to dominate the ninja world, but this takes time, and the growth of the younger generations takes even more time. However, it is difficult to reach another level without experiencing ups and downs and smooth growth. Your strength is still improving too slowly. In the past few years, I have also lost too much time due to matters in the sect. Today I will step down from the position of acting sect leader and let Li Shushan, who is ranked 10th on the Tiansho ranking, take over the position. As soon as these words came out, nearly 10,000 people were in an uproar again. However, the senior officials of Tiansho sect and the younger generation of cage-level experts on the 7th floor martial arts viewing platform acquiesced to this fact. Regardless of what was said below, Long Xuanji said again, I believe everyone can see his ability. In the past 4 years, he has been assisting me in promoting the development of Tiansho sect. His strength and ability are obvious to all. This time I will retreat behind the scenes and become the 3rd elder of Tiansho sect. When everyone heard that Long Xuanji was so determined, no one said anything. They knew that no one could change the mind of the Lord Long sect. Although they knew that Li Shushan would become the new sect leader, no one thought it would happen so soon. Although Li Shushan is ranked 10th on the Tiansho ranking, he is also the only one on the Tiansho ranking who has not reached cage level. Everyone thought that it was difficult for Li Shushan to take on a big position. After all, his strength was not as strong as imagined, and he was also the oldest among all the disciples of the Shoji generation. But what they don't know is how much Li Shushan has paid to promote the development of a sect in Nuo University. He could have entered the top 10 of the Tiansho list, and his qualifications were definitely not bad. Li Shushan even had many opportunities to enter the self-cultivation furnace again to transform his body. But they were all delayed due to trivial matters of the sect. Many senior executives see this in their eyes. Li Shushan has shown management skills and a heart of love from a very young age. This is why Qixing and Long Xuanji decided to start cultivating Li Shushan when he was still a genin. I know that Shushan's strength is not up to the minimum requirements of the sect leader, but now that Elder 7 Stars is here, I think the all-powerful Elder 7 Stars can definitely solve this matter. At this moment, everyone below was whispering, is the 7-star Elder really so magical? Qixing and Orochi sat firmly on the stage without making a sound. Long Xuanji changed her voice and said, okay, the sect leader's token has been sent out, Shushan hasn't come forward yet. Li Shushan, who is sitting on the first floor of the martial arts viewing platform at the moment, is also a little confused. He knows that the teachers and elders have been training him to become the sect leader, but he thinks that he still needs a few years of experience and will have a chance when he breaks through cage level. But who could have thought it would come so soon? Advertisement at this time, the younger brother next to him pushed Li Shushan's shoulder. Brother, the doormaster called you, why don't you come up quickly? The 4 people on the first floor also chuckled when they heard this. Congratulations Shushan. Those few, it's a pity that this guy can't see your glorious moment. There was no jealousy in his voice, only relief. After all, the answer was already there, it was just a matter of time. Li Shushan was refreshed. Hearing the words of several people, he came back to his senses and walked quickly to the 7th floor of Guanwu Terrace. The entire Guanwu Terrace has 7 floors, and each floor requires 7 steps, for a total of 49 steps. There are familiar faces sitting on each floor. Bao Gui and Peacock have also advanced to cage level. Those who were Jonin's teachers a few years ago also successfully broke through under the transformation of the self-cultivation furnace. There are also some high-level officials who obviously have average qualifications, but they just rely on the self-cultivation furnace to reach the level of elite Jonin. At this moment, Li Shushan stepped forward step by step. The people around him ranged from the 4 hall masters, to the 3 major protectors, and then to the 2 major pavilion masters. These people were all existences beyond cage level. At this moment, Li Shushan saw Tianshuman's future. Without hesitation, he came to Long Xuanji, knelt down on his knees, and took the sect master's token. Thank you teachers and elders for their cultivation. Then he stood up, held the token high, and looked at his fellow disciples below. Today, I am the leader of Tianshu clan, and I will definitely lead Tianshu clan and all of my fellow disciples to glory. If I violate the rules of Tianshu clan in the future, all my fellow disciples will do so. Punish him. After saying this, countless white clouds in the entire Tianshuman formation actually gathered above Li Shushan's head, as if waiting for some kind of designation, but they have not yet descended. Qixing knew that this was the fate of the entire Tianshu clan and was about to be related to Li Shushan. Qiluk was also waiting for Qixing's instructions. When Qixing waved his right hand, the Qiluk cloud turned into a pillar of light and enveloped Li Shushan. The next moment, Li Shushan's whole body was filled with aura, and streams of green emanated from his body, connecting with the white clouds in the sky. In just a few breaths, Li Shushan's chakra doubled. Directly break through your own shackles and reach the early stage of cage level. When the fellow sects below saw this scene, they all exclaimed, the new sect leader has made a breakthrough, our Tianshu sect's foundation is actually so strong. After a moment of adaptation, everyone finally accepted this fact. Thousands of people shouted in unison, I have seen the Lord of Tianmen. I have met the 3 elders, Elder Qixing, Elder Yuan, and Elder Long. At this point, the top 10 on the Tianshu list have all become cage-level experts. This time, the matter of the sect leader giving up his position came to an end amidst the shouts of his fellow sect members. In the future, Tianshuman will be in the hands of Li Shushan and will be out of control. According to the teachings of his teacher Long Xuanji, the Kingdom of Heaven established on the middle of the Tianshan Mountains has begun to take shape. And the Kingdom of Heaven has been determined to be officially founded after the 4th War. Of course this is all a story for later. At this moment, after their fellow disciples retreated, Qixing, Big Snake, Long Xuanji, Shushan, Qi, Ant King, Corpse King, and Little Didi passed through countless tunnels and arrived at a bright underground palace. Dozens of people were here in a hurry, with excited smiles on their faces. It was not because of seeing Qixing and others, but because their experiments had made new breakthroughs. Several people came to the laboratory door, and what greeted them was Amato, whom they had longed for. This scientist is more talented than Orochimaru. Amato was very direct when he saw Qixing. Elder Qixing, have you brought what I want? When Qixing saw the smile on Amato's face, he knew that this guy's cloning experiment had been successful. Said, of course, not only Jiraiya, but also Hidan of the evil god cult, this immortal body lived up to expectations. After hearing the good news, Amato almost hugged Qixing and kissed him, but luckily he was stopped by the deputy beside him. He said excitedly, hurry up, come to my laboratory. Chapter 160 The Cult of Evil God. After saying that, he led a few people into the largest laboratory, which contained various living experimental samples, and even clones with the same appearance as normal people, bubbling in culture vessels. Amato saw a few people in a daze, and introduced them to them with excitement. Look, this is my latest research result. Super gene cloning technology. With only a small amount of genetic samples, I can create a perfect body based on genetic modification. The only pity is that I haven't completely cracked the mystery of the soul. Otherwise. But I heard that Master Qixing has mastered the means to control the soul. I wonder if it is possible. After Qixing heard this, he understood Amato's little thoughts. Immediately said, you want my soul restraining general? Huh? Your soul power is too weak, and you can't even use chakra. It's useless even if you ask for it. After hearing Qixing's words, Amato frowned deeply, as if he was considering whether to reveal his secret. Then he said, Sir Qixing, thank you very much for your honesty. I really can't use it, but I hope to see a sample of that technique. I have a feeling that if that ability is combined with my cloning technology, it will be useful. Unexpected effect. When everyone heard this, they were startled and said, if you are allowed to master the secret of the soul, you will not become a god. Then they all looked at Qixing. Everyone wants to know how he makes his choice. It doesn't matter to Qixing, he has a system and his strength is growing rapidly. Even if Amato creates a god, Qixing is confident that he can control Amato. Immediately, he threw out a yellowed notebook, and Amato took it. The content inside made him ecstatic. Thank you Lord Qixing. Okay, no need to thank me, you deserve this. After speaking, he looked at the incarnation beside him and said, Qi, please release Hidan. After hearing the main body's words, Qi directly took out the universal capsule and released Hidan. The moment the capsule grew bigger, Hidan's dead face started shouting and was about to yell and curse Qi. But looking at the strong men surrounding him, Hidan immediately became frightened, and even trembled with fear, because the auras emanating from these people made Hidan confused. Hidan has only experienced this kind of terrifying aura from the guardians of the evil god sect, but those guardians are all the spokespersons of the evil god in the ninja world, so they can have that kind of strength. Why are these guys so strong? Hidan, aggrieved and panicked, could only ask weakly, what do you want to do? But everyone ignored him and just looked at Hidan with a smile, which made him even more frightened. At this moment, Hidan could only kneel down and start the sacrifice silently. Everyone was a human spirit and noticed his little moves, but they ignored Hidan. They just wanted to see what other tricks this guy had. However, at this moment, Hidan will sacrifice half of his body to invite the evil god to come. But how could the evil god pay attention to a small role like him? He just sent, one of the 9 guardians under him, to respond to his followers. Everyone in Qixing just looked at Hidan, their bodies trembling continuously, and no one took action to stop him. In just a few breaths, Hidan stopped offering sacrifices. When Hidan stood up again, his voice became extremely cold. You, these humble mortals, dare to rob the followers of Lord Evil God. You are simply seeking death. After saying that, no movement was seen, only a large hand nearly 100 meters above the heads of Qixing and others was seen. It had already crushed the roof of the laboratory, and it took a picture of Qixing and others. Several people seemed to be stunned. No one made any move to dodge. The possessed Hidan said disdainfully, "What a weak mortal." But as soon as he finished speaking, a phantom snake head rushed out from behind the big snake. The mouth of the snake was like a black hole with strong suction. And that terrifying suction force has no effect on anything around it, but is fatal to the big hand in the sky. Before Hidan could react, the giant snake swallowed the nearly 100-meter-long palm in one bite. The possessed Hidan looked confused when he saw this scene. What the hell is going on? My ghost has arrived and at least has the combat power of the late 6 paths. How can it be easily crushed? I don't believe it. Advertisement. He was about to take action again, but before this guy could raise his hand, the snake's territory had already expanded. At this moment, Hidan is standing at the entrance of a black hole. Hidan, who is possessed at this moment, is terrified in his heart. He is no longer as arrogant as before. Now he is only thinking about how to make this ghost escape from this ghost place. Once the decision was made, it was immediately implemented. But the moment the split soul flew out of Hidan's body, Qixing had already stopped in front of it, holding it in his big golden hand. But this repeated soul is also a man, and he actually wants to choose to self-destruct. Don't let these guys get the secrets of the evil cult. But how could Qixing let him die so easily? I saw the right hand of his heart stretched out, and a gentle light covered the body of the divided soul. The spirit binding general was activated, and the divided soul was directly controlled, making it impossible to escape. At this moment, Qixing threw him into his Rinnegan space, wanting to have a glimpse of his memory. But as soon as the 7 stars made a move, the soul turned into starlight and dissipated in Rinnegan's space, and the space became a little larger due to the addition of these starlights. This caught Qixing off guard. What were those starlights in the system just now? Ding! That is the power of faith of the evil god, absorbed by the host's space. Close black lens bracket. Oh, the power of faith. I didn't expect that the evil god would develop many followers in the ninja world. Looking at Hidan at this moment, with only half of his broken body left, Qixing showed no mercy. He stepped forward and grabbed Hidan's head with his right hand. A strange memory appeared in Qixing's mind. When Qixing wanted to further explore Hidan's memory, the giant's fingers descended from the sky and pointed at the 7 stars. Qixing felt a chill all over his body, and a threat of death spread throughout his body. Qixing directly chose to leave Hidan's sea of consciousness. That big hand also penetrated Hidan's sea of consciousness. Qixing, who had escaped the disaster, breathed a sigh of relief. System. What was that just now? Ding. The shadow of the evil god. Every loyal believer of the evil god will be branded as the evil god. This is also the secret of their immortality. Close black lens bracket. It turns out that immortality is the power of the evil god. Unfortunately, I didn't gain much information from the evil god sect. I only know that they have nearly 1,000 loyal followers in the ninja world, which means they have hundreds of them. Guys like Hidan who are difficult to kill are the true core of the evil god cult. And ordinary members of the evil god cult turned into ordinary people and hid in various ninja villages to collect intelligence. Qixing, who knew the news, was not too happy because it would be more troublesome to eradicate these guys. He looked at the dead Hidan and then at Amato, said, Hidan's body is here. Only Jiraiya is left. With that said, the sleeping Jiraiya was released from Kamui's space. This guy obviously ate the fairy beans, and the chakra on his body has been restored to its original state, but for some reason he fell into a deep sleep. The explanation given by the system was that the obsession in his heart was suppressed, waiting for him to unravel the knot, will wake up naturally. Amato didn't look at the 2 people lying on the ground. He just looked at Qixing and Orochi with fascination. Dao. Elder Yuan, can you give me a drop of your blood? I want to study it. When Orochi heard this, he wanted to kill Amato. But due to Qixing's presence, he didn't dare to move. Just shout, get out.